Vigorous podcast yet again with Alek Matrevsky, second appearance. How have you
Guys,
been?
thank you for having me yet again. I've been
Mhm.
doing good. Just came back from a vacation from Germany. Enjoyed some good food. Had a great time with my girl. I actually did some shopping there, and as with
Mhm.
this lifestyle, we always shop for some weird shit. This time I was after a vaccine actually.
Oh,
Um, be- yeah,
okay.
because the immunosuppressive meds here they basically exacerbate a virus called herpes zoster. It's shingles,
All right.
and in my country we don't have the vaccine for it, and I basically had to fly over to Germany to get it there. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it wasn't one of those preferable purchases. Usually when I go
Mhm.
somewhere, I'm looking for interesting androgens, things that modulate. you know
Oh, it is
so
it. It is the home of Bayer Testifirin, Germany.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Not only that, Anadrol, you have Caber there, even though,
yeah.
I don't prefer Caber, but
I don't
Proviron,
prefer Pfizer anymore. The whole company, I stay away from now.
dude, it's interesting. They reported 500 million of profits just on Viagra in 2020 or 21, I think. Like, they
Yeah.
make so much money. They can do whatever the fuck they want and get away with
Mhm.
it, because even if they face lawsuits, they're always in a net profit. So
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end of the
yeah.
day, they're just winning.
Well, their stock is going down a little bit. I sold my stock, my Pfizer stock last year in December, so that was a good call.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that was after getting some side effects. So Pfizer is not no longer on my approved list for pharmaceuticals, but Bayer is
Mhm.
still good to go. Testifirin, Primobolan, and it's yeah, I like Bayer. I still have Bayer stocks. So how
Did
was
you?
Germany overall? Was it fun?
I,
Did you do some cool stuff?
Yeah, brother, it's different. Whenever I leave this country, go anywhere in Europe, I hope to visit the States one day.
Hmm.
It's a different mentality because people are working, they're busy, and they don't give a fuck about you. Like, even, yeah, because we live, we're not average. We'll get the looks, from time to time,
Hmm.
but you can see there's no maliciousness behind it. Even if they talk shit, they're gonna forget about you in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Here they talk about you for the next 3 hours. They know everything about you, what you're taking, when are you gonna die.
Yeah.
They say you're gay or whatever. So, like, they're very creative with
I
their.
think that's a trait of a country that's a little bit smaller with only a couple million inhabitants. Because I saw
Yes.
that when I went to Bhutan, they really like
Hmm.
to gossip there, and in
Yeah.
Mongolia it's the same thing. They know everything about everybody because the country is quite small, maybe a couple 100,000, a couple million inhabitants, and all the
Hmm.
people that are known that are successful or doing something, and especially the bodybuilders, they're
Hmm.
they're the talk of the town. So maybe that in your country that's the same thing, and then you go to Germany with millions upon millions of people, and they don't really
Sure.
care. Plus, if they talk, it's in German. You don't understand what's going. That's why I
Yeah.
moved to Thailand. It's like bliss. Whatever they say, it's like I hear 50% of it, and the rest I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the thing that pissed me off, I don't know why in
Mhm.
Europe nobody talks English. It's weird. Went
It's only in
to
Germany. It's in Germany and French. They do that, but they do it
in
on
Spain.
purpose.
In Spain, yeah,
Spain,
it's on
yeah,
purpose.
yeah, Spain also, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Italy, yeah.
yeah, that's weird. Why? Because, like, if we can communicate, we can get to know each other better. We can have a
Hmm.
better time. I can like you, and I can tip you more.
Right.
That's very weird. Like, they're super proud and everything, but I think that's way overboard, and that's why I considered moving to Spain, because I want to
Hmm.
live near a beach. But I changed my mind, and actually I'm looking at houses near Greece, in an island, and work from there. I know the language,
Right.
so I think that's a good business move.
Yeah, I
um
mean, you gotta like when you travel, you gotta go around a little bit and see where you're treated best, like
True.
Nomad Capitalist always says. So I traveled extensively through Europe and Asia, and I get treated very well here in Thailand. So this is why I settled here. And Thailand isn't
Hmm.
perfect. I mean, you will never find the perfect place, but for 95% of the time, you got to feel at home. So I
True.
took my wife to Holland, and within 3 days, she was like, "Man, I can't live here." and this looks like a third world country. That's what my
Yeah.
wife said. She comes from Bangkok, right? So we go through Amsterdam, and it's dirty, and there's homeless people, and
Mm,
the trash is overflowing.
the water.
It's yeah, and it's a mess, and people are honking and bicycles going everywhere, and you almost get hit over. She's like, "What the hell's
Yeah,
going on?
yes.
What is this
And
shit?"
especially if you're on trend or something like that and your jaw is like expanding and like literally poking at your eardrum, yeah,
Yeah,
it's not a worthwhile experience
no,
and situation to put yourself at. But yeah, I
yeah,
completely agree with you.
mm,
I don't knock anybody for their choices as long as it's planned, it's within their objective bigger picture. So I don't
mm,
like people that are sticking to one place purely based off of convenience and lack of motivation to
mm.
explore new endeavors.
It's
So
it's
yeah,
most people, they grow up and they die within 30 miles or 30 kilometers of where they're born, which is a
yeah,
shame because the world is so much bigger,
it's
and there's
weird.
so much to see.
In America, a lot of my clients have never moved a single state. A
Oh
single
wow,
state. Yeah, like they were
wow,
never like if somebody lives in Texas, they've never went to New York. And I'm like, why?
hmm,
Like, what the fuck? All the movies, Christmas, like, do
yeah,
you not want to experience that? Like, everybody's in their own bubble, and they
hmm,
never move out of that. And yeah, I understand. In order to get yourself to that position, you have to, do the work and get yourself to the
yeah,
point where
mm,
you'll have financial freedom
yeah,
because that's gonna give you time to do that without going
hmm,
broke. So yeah, but you understand that, and I think that's the best way to go about it regarding life in general because we have
mm.
limited time, and wasting it in a fucking gym is definitely not it. I don't think God, I don't think God made us for that.
It's
But
it's like
speaking
if
of,
you really want to be a good bodybuilder or go to the fitness route, you can monetize the stuff. I just made a video about it.
hmm
So if you really go to that direction, you can actually, make money doing what you love, but you'll still be kind of stuck in the same place. It's the gym, home,
hmm
kitchen, and the grocery
true,
store. That this is where your success is dependent off. But the
exactly.
guys that are a little bit more open-minded, they start traveling to Dubai, Thailand, all the other places where there are gyms. But if you really want to get out of your comfort zone, you just got to let it
hmm
go and travel properly for a year. That's what I did. And then you see some serious shit. Then you just eat street food and do some crazy traveling. And, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to kind of experience life. And I would say that, the ideal time is like 25 to 30 years old, because then you're high on the market with most age groups if you're a guy,
hmm
and
True.
your body is still energetic. Like I'm
Yes.
close to 40 now, and I don't want to think about backpacking through Asia. That's
Right.
I
Right.
don't know, man. I've done it already, and I know how much pain and effort it took, because I did some crazy stuff.
Right.
And now I wouldn't be up for it. I would have to lose like 30 kilos of mass also.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
yeah,
There's
I'm
no
way too heavy.
there's no way maintaining it. But again, it's within context and also your age.
Mhm.
So you're realistic with yourself, and this goes back to being real with yourself and just finding what's appropriate for you and going into the path that fits your endeavor the most, and it would be
Mhm.
the best uh, risk reward ratio and return of investment. And
Right.
what pisses me off today in the industry with a lot of influencers, they're like 19-year olds, or let's say even 25, even 30, right? They have 2 million
Mhm.
subscribers, a million subscribers on YouTube, whatever, and they're talking to these kids and they're saying, maximize your genetic potential, never touch drugs until you're like 25 or 30 or whatever. But the
Mhm.
reason why they have what they have and the reason why they know about them, everybody knows about them, is because they did the shit that they're propagating against. So that's
Yeah.
very hypercritical. How can you say that? Like, I'd rather prefer somebody like you, like myself,
Mhm.
that we don't interfere with individuals choices. You just
Right.
provide information, the pros and cons, and
Mhm.
the dual way to go about it. So that's the
Right.
best thing, because like today, anybody that's 17 years old can do 3 cycles of trembolone, put a few TikTok videos with extremely faggy music, have some piercing, the broccoli hairstyle, overly dramatized, angles and whatever. And then you have generic companies that have zero moral code or values or any virtue, and they just sponsor them. They give them the ability to make money. Why would they go to college? Why would they work a 9 to 5 job? Why would they go through the process of becoming a man when everything is given on a silver platter? And
Right, right, right.
this is basically creating addicts, because addictive personality and addiction is basically extremely narrowing down the activities that will positively modulate dopamine for the individual. Truly
Well,
happy
yeah,
and
you see
successful
that.
people,
Yeah.
they draw dopamine out of everything, and that's scalable. And the better they become at it, the more efficient they become, and they're a better overall person. So even if tomorrow they got hit by a car, tomorrow you suffer an injury or whatever, and we're both in a wheelchair, the knowledge that we have, the experience and the data that
Right.
we have, that's universal. That's universal currency that will never fade.
Mhm.
That's a guarantee to success.
But you see it with a lot of social media guys that got, famous quick, especially at a younger age. They
True.
all fall off. I mean, how many times do we see this over and over again? They all fall off. They get addicted to drugs, or they
Mm-hmm.
start doing stupid shit or saying stupid shit.
True.
And then, the turnover of these guys, they last for about 4 to 5 years, and the turnover of these guys is quite high. It's the same with low educated staff, right? They come in, they do a job for 4 months, and then they're gone because the job is too difficult. And then the next guy comes in, or they have an issue with one of the colleagues. It's the same with these fitness influencers. They come in, they have an average physique, maybe a little bit better than average,
Mm-hmm.
but there's so many average people who aspire to be slightly better than average. And these
Mm-hmm.
guys are highly energetic, on stims and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a market for it. And until the
Yes.
younger generation kind of learns the hard way and goes with
Mm-hmm.
the guys who are a little bit more composed, a little bit more intellectual, a little bit more established, but not this, this K-pop, or pop music kind of, delivery of the message. Yeah, I mean, it will take some time for these kids to catch on, and that's their learning experience. So for me, it doesn't really bother me, because I try to deal with the people who are a little bit more intelligent, a little bit more heads, and then see the difference between this fake image that people portray and the guys who are real, and just
Mm-hmm.
keep it low key, and they're not bragging about their success, or saying, I made this much money, or I did this, or I did that. Okay, I mean, it should be pretty obvious for the people who are into business that things are going on behind the scenes, but you don't need to flex that all the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely. I
you're
I
you're
agree with you.
you're doing well, and I'm doing well, but we're not sitting here flexing it with Lamborghinis or that kind of stuff. And
Because
plus, half of the guys that are flexing their Lamborghinis, those are all rented.
exactly that was my point. A successful person does not need to show off. Like, you don't walk
Mm,
around in the street with front double biceps. Like, you're
mm.
jacked. There's no need for that. People
Yeah,
that aren't jacked and want that attention do that. You
yeah,
have that. You're confident in yourself, but the confidence is drawn from your effort and from your
right,
CV, from what you've
mhm,
done. And
right,
this is the message that I want to also put out there, and that's why
mhm,
I like you very much, because we have a very similar mindset in this regard.
mhm.
Currently, I don't see anybody in the fitness industry thinking this way,
Well,
and that's
Derek is
what.
the same. I mean, that's why we're all friends. Derek is very
True.
similar in that sense. He does his thing, and he's obviously very successful, but he keeps it to himself.
That's
That's
the
his
thing.
business.
That's the
Yeah.
problem, though. I was like that up until
Mhm,
very recently. I was like Derek. He knows
mhm,
that. He implements that within himself, but
mhm,
there's a higher responsibility to pass that message on, to give that
mhm,
alternative, because otherwise, why the fuck would you know that? It's a waste, because you can make a very big difference on
mhm.
society via just telling it how it is. Now he's
Yeah.
extremely successful. He beat the
Mm,
game from a monetary standpoint, but
yeah.
still, now when you're at the top of the game, now look at people like Mike Tyson or any other
Mhm,
celebrity that has lived their life at the peak of whatever they have done. Now they are all going podcasts, they're writing books, they're trying to give back to society the
Yeah.
formula that got them there, because that's the ultimate responsibility. That's the
Yeah.
ultimate, the best thing that you give back, because you
Like
have to have gratitude.
the problem is it's always about time, right? So I could write an autobiography, even though I'm not big enough, to really sell an autobiography, but it will be an interesting read. If I really start digging deep and opening the floodgates of Pandora's box, man, the writer would be shocked.
I would, I would prepaid for that. I would pay up
Yeah,
front.
yeah. Let's start a Kickstarter for that. But
Yeah,
I think it's always about time management. And when you're so busy with your business, your main business,
true.
then I think until you decide, like, okay, I've made my money here with my main business, I want to take a step back. Like most of the guys that are into sports, like Tyson or Flex Wheeler, for example, he has also got an autobiography, which is a good read. And some of the cyclists, right? They started writing those things when they took a step back from the sport. And
Yeah,
since
true.
you're still actively chasing, I'm still actively chasing. Derek is obviously so, and Derek and you are still, relatively young, around 30, and then around 40, things start to unwind a little bit more.
True.
But I think I would write something like that when I'm 50, and you obviously you still stay relevant when you're 50
True.
because
True.
you
True.
keep the grind going.
Exactly.
So, but like, would you read an autobiography of a 25-year-old guy? I'm a millionaire at 25. Okay, that's great, but where's the life experience?
Depends on the story. Depends,
Yeah,
because being a multimillionaire at 25, that means that
mhm.
you've really hacked the system.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, yeah. Then
I,
you're
I
ahead.
would be
Yeah.
interested, because I'm a supporter, and I
Mhm.
cheer for people that do exceptional things
Right,
at a younger age.
right.
Because that's what it's all about. If you gain 30 pounds of muscle in a year, I'd be
Mhm.
very happy, because I
Yeah,
know you. I will try to gather that information from you.
right. Mhm.
So it's within everybody's benefit. So I would, but now today, again, because society and social media rewards retards, you can make that just by doing a TikTok video of you doing some fucked up shit, and you can get praised for that, and then you can be set for
Yeah.
life.
Did you
That's
ever
the
watch
problem.
the movie American something? It's about some guy that gets stuck in a time machine. Then he goes 50 years into the future, and there's a black president, and they give Mountain Dew to the food, and
Hmm.
then they wonder why it's not growing. Yeah, but Mountain Dew has electrolytes. I can't remember what this movie is called, but it's we're slowly getting there now, where people just watch fart jokes all the time on television, and that's their
Yeah,
main form of entertainment. I see it in my Instagram feed. It's all garbage now, and I don't even click
exactly. Yeah,
it. I don't scroll for it. It's just shock value and tits and guys with separated arms. I'm like, what the hell is this? This like 4chan. It's all snuff.
yeah, exactly. That's
why,
true. That's
why am
true.
I getting recommended this kind of bullshit?
I have
So
no idea.
that's why I stay away from social media nowadays. The YouTube recommendation is slowly turning the ass,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get things recommended that I'm completely not interested in.
same.
Um, it's so weird. So I'm really wondering what's going on, and that brings us to a very important point. Like what I've always done, I threw away my cable right from the television when I was like 14 or 15 years old. I was not interested in what was on TV. I hated the commercials. And at the time, I already knew how the internet worked. So I would rather download my movies from Kazaa or eDonkey or, Napster, one of those
Hmm.
early downloading programs. And I would just get my entertainment that way. I would look for the entertainment myself. So if the algorithm or the television doesn't provide you the right content, you go look for it yourself. And I think this is really getting a lost trait of people nowadays.
True.
They want to be fed, spoon fed the information, which is, part of the reason why I have a job, because I'm spoon feeding information to the audience. And
True.
apparently they love me for it. I mean, my like ratio is like 99.5% on my videos. But it also means that a lot of people are not going to develop that skill of finding information by themselves. and then I'm limited to the algorithm because I want to make videos that are like an hour long, which contain everything, but nobody has the attention span to really watch an hour video and then go through all of the literature and then read the full study, which I always link, on Science Hub. So I think the people who are really going to exceed, they're curious about things and they're going to figure it out by themselves. And you're curious about figuring out life. I am. Derek is. A lot of our people that we highly respect, they all do their own research and they respect other people that do similar research. But even though they might not have a similar opinion, they still respect each other because they know that the work and the body of knowledge is there, right? And this is why go ahead.
What's very interesting, because you brought up Derek, and when people are like, who do you look up to, and they're like mentioning this influencers, whatever, raving, doing these types of people and whatever. Derek is literally the blueprint of somebody that beat the game. He's an average Joe, average Canadian dude that used to work as a bouncer in clubs. I don't know his full backstory. He doesn't have 3 PhDs.
No, he has a degree. He has a business background.
That doesn't fucking matter. He's a guy that had an access to the computer and started making videos about things that he was interested in. He did it consistently, and look where he's at.
He grinded fucking hard.
Everybody
grinded fucking hard.
Everybody
I pulled him aside a couple times and said, Derek, you got to slow down a little bit here and there. Enjoy life while you're still young.
That's a trap, though. That's a trap, though. Yes, that's a trap. When I was in Turkey, I met a multimillionaire there. He was from Germany. With his wife. We were training at like 4 a.m. at the gym. They were consistent as shit. He walks up to me, we started communicating, whatever. He's like, why do you train every day? I train twice a day, and I'm explaining him my philosophy. He said, you remind me very much of myself, and I used to do that, and I put everything aside, work. My wife got sick, she had cancer. I didn't even flinch. I was so busy with my stocks, with my company, this and that, until she packed her shit and left me. And at that point, his company was the first that provided solar energy for Germany. And he basically sold his company to his number one competitor. He retired.
That's the dream, right? Yeah, that's the dream.
He retired, and now he's his wife for the rest of his life, and she was there as well with him. And that gives you basically the rundown of the situation. Putting gas all the time will inevitably increase your value as a man, but at some point you have to accept that trade-off, that sometimes enough is enough, or you have to look into other endeavors, and that's pretty much it. And with Derek, he's super young still, and I mean, it's fine to pursue that path, but there's the trap of trying to overreach, especially now with the PEDs, with the drugs, with the sympathomimetic drugs, with this and that, and those kinds of things can damage one's individual and change them long-term, permanently, potentially. I'm not saying about him, but in general, that's a trap people also fell into. So but overall, that's the game. It's a matter of being aware of it and knowing when to let go. Just like yourself, you're jack as fuck, you look amazing, you train like a pro. You're not a pro, you don't have the exceptional genetics to be on the stage.
I don't have what it takes, so
you're not a
I better go I can do this community a much better favor by just providing information and helping other people.
Exactly.
Because I can get on stage and then people are like, he's okay.
Yeah, and they will shit on you. They will shit on you.
Of course.
Some will shit on you. Oh, he knows all this stuff, this and that, and he doesn't have like 30-inch arms or whatever. So, but that's genetics, and you're real with it, and you found a way to still be within what you love and actually make even more money than people that just go, head against the wall. Same thing with me.
I know how to monetize it, like me, Derek, we all know how to monetize these endeavors. And that's why which is unfortunate, I try to make business videos here and there, but maybe it's because I'm, not flexing all the time in Lamborghinis,
Exactly.
that people don't take it serious, because people are very visual animals. So they need
True.
to see you in brand clothes and flexing currency all the time. And if you don't do that, then they're like, oh yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Where in reality, the currency is in crypto or stock, accumulating. So
But I
it's
understand that, but I
it's a
disagree with
funny
it.
thing.
Only morons are getting impressed by that. Like I get way more impressed than Derek
Mm,
that doesn't flash shit, and I don't do that
mm,
as well. I only post pictures on vacation just because my girl, she's so
yeah, right.
amazed of, but I
Mm,
don't do that. So because if you have to bring in value, physical value, to show that you're something, like when we talk, that's
mm,
the ultimate. Like that's how people know that you're worth. Knowledge is the ultimate currency.
yeah.
It's
Well, I mean,
it's 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 not your watches or whatever. You can
mm,
sell drugs and have those. You can rent them.
mm,
If you're in a hall with you know the top IFBB coaches, I don't know, maybe whoever, I don't want to name names, but like the top 10 Olympian coaches, they all have microphones, and we're discussing pharmacology. We're
mm,
talking, mitigating side effects from androgens, cognitive enhancements, whatever. And everybody has like 20 minutes to open up with their arguments and make it like a debate. And the end of the session, everybody will come to us. It's a
mm,
no-brainer.
yeah,
Anybody with common sense, because like they can, first it's logical, secondly you can double check it. We're forcing people to think,
yeah.
and
Mm.
that's the ultimate value.
Yeah, I think
So
especially in this sport, I mean, we're just
exactly.
trying to provide something for people to think about, and then overall, when they do a little bit thinking and additional research, they can improve their overall quality of life. And I see it in the comment section, and I get those messages every single day. How
True.
much of a positive impact I've made. And of course, you have the occasional hater,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
whatever. You can't please everybody.
Absolutely.
But I do think like adding value is more valuable than showing valuable assets.
True.
and
True.
and
I agree
and
with
plus
you.
it, if you're living in a country like this, or where you are, you probably just make yourself a target. So
Yeah.
why,
Yeah.
well,
Exactly.
why why
Exactly.
why would you do that? I see guys walking around here with nice watches and chains and,
Yeah, and
and,
they get
and fancy
shot.
clothes. No, they don't get shot, but people gravitate toward that because they
Yeah.
want to take something away. And I've learned early on that people usually want to take my time or attention or knowledge. So I
Right.
always charge for it. When I was 12 years old, I would help people fix their computers because then I was still, heavily into computer stuff. And I would charge.
Which is fair.
I would just
Which is
charge
fair.
$10 an hour, dude.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You're giving time for money, which is a currency, but
Yeah.
also we also do free shit because
Yeah.
that's a marketing tool. Like how
Right.
would anybody know that you have the knowledge for that? And people have
Without YouTube.
they have specific problems that they will
Mhm.
want to go in depth with you, discuss them, they trust you significantly, and
Mhm.
you give back to society. That 1% will hire you, and that's all
Right.
you need. If you have
No, that's all you need.
500 followers, 1%, you're set. So it's
Yeah.
worthwhile. It's
So that's what I
worthwhile.
noticed when I was on like Instagram and had like 3,000, 5,000 followers, but I had a good
Hmm.
reputation. I had helped people all over Asia and some people in the Western world.
Hmm.
And if you're good at what you're doing, the marketing will do itself for you. And people will
True.
find you. If you're good at what you're doing, people will find you. That's why I always laugh when I get these emails on every single day. Yeah, I want to write you an email thing and marketing, and I want to be your editor.
I believe
And I
that.
always reply back, if you were good at what you're doing, I would find you myself. You know.
True. True.
So as arrogant as it
Absolutely.
sounds, like I know you for a very long time from Facebook, and I always respected your opinion. And Derek found me at one point through a podcast I did with Dan, the bodybuilder in Thailand, and he
Hmm.
was impressed with what I had to say, and that's how we developed a friendship. I think I knew you before that time already. I think I know you longer
Probably
than Derek. Yeah.
2017, around maybe
Yeah,
maybe
something
around
like
the
that.
time
Like
with Anthony, or maybe the
yeah,
Enhanced
something like
Athlete group, the forum group. on
Right.
on Facebook. On
Right.
Facebook, yeah, yeah,
Right.
and I've
So, I
known,
mean, we've all been around for a very long time. It's just recently that we're now a little bit more active on social media. And Derek is kind of leading the way on growing and milking
yeah,
the algorithm. And he's always been, very helpful to give back. So I'm going to the United States in 1 month.
really for the Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I really want
Yes.
to go there. I really
This
want to
is the
go
year,
there.
dude. This is the year. 30 competitors. It's still in Las Vegas. So next year we'll be somewhere else. But I really want to go to
Mm-hmm.
Las Vegas. So that's why we're going this year. And now that the borders are a little bit more open and we can travel
Mm-hmm.
more freely, I put a substantial amount of money in an account, and
The
I got plenty of cash to make that the best holiday ever.
what are the requirements? You just have to have enough cash on hand.
No, I mean you need the ESTA visa. And my wife had to get a special visa, so she's got a 10-year student. No, no, not a 10-year tourist visa. But I just got
Mm-hmm.
I think a 60-day tourist visa because it works a little bit different because we have different passports. So my visa got approved in like 2 days, and hers, required her to go to the embassy in Bangkok. So she had a little bit of an interview, but she already had a business visa, which was valid for 10 years, but expired last year. So
Mm-hmm.
she was able to get, a tourist visa because she's already been to the embassy. She's already been to the States for work for
Mm-hmm.
a couple seminars. And so that's all settled. And then the flight was reasonably cheap. We're going to LA first, Disneyland. That's mad expensive. Jesus Christ.
How much is it?
That's like $650 for 2 days for two people.
Oh shit,
And
my
that's
girl
just the
is,
park. That's just the
yeah,
park, dude.
she flips out over Disneyland. Yeah, I'm gonna face that same issue.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
thanks
I've
for
been
the heads
like
up.
I've been saving currency for the last 3 years because there was nothing to do, right? I've been stuck in Thailand and I've
Yeah,
been going to Padi and surrounding areas in Bangkok. So I've
if you
been
go,
just saving my money and putting it
mm-hmm.
aside for a holiday like this. Now I'm just going to do everything I wanted. When I went to Japan a couple of years ago, I told my wife, I said, listen, Japan is very expensive, but I'm going to
Good.
do everything I want to do. So I saved money, saved money, saved money for like 6 months. And then I
Mm-hmm.
went to the Lost in Translation bar, from that movie, which
Mm-hmm.
has a cover charge of like $200. And then the
Oh
drinks are like $50 each. And then you get a cigar with your friend. And yeah, that was a crazy bill, but it was a lot of fun, I
you,
remember the fun night. I don't remember how, exorbitant the bill was.
uh,
We went
you
to the
went with
Kill
your
Bill.
wife?
Yeah, with my wife. Yeah, my best friend was working at the embassy there, so at least we didn't have to pay for the hotel. So we just stayed at the embassy, which is huge condominium
Yeah,
complex. So you had all these guest rooms and extra bathrooms, and another living room and a man room, with
true.
video games. So he had a huge spot. And we went, to the Kill Bill restaurant. We went to Disneyland Sea, which is one of
Mm-hmm.
the best Disneylands in the world. We did all kinds of trips, and so that trip of like 2 weeks ended up like thousands of dollars, which
Fucking hell.
yeah, it was
What?
crazy. It was crazy expensive. But what I remember is that I had an awesome fucking holiday, and I
Yeah.
did
Well.
everything. I did everything I wanted to do. So I'm going to do the same thing when I go to the US. I'm going to
Uh huh.
shoot guns. I'm going to fly helicopters. I'm going to eat the most expensive buffets. The hotel room is not that expensive, but still, quality. Mini
Mm-hmm.
golf, going to the Olympia, going to the Expo, going to
Vegas.
steak restaurants. I'm going to go to Sapphire, the strip club. That has to be
Oh,
done also.
with your wife.
Yeah, yeah, why not? Should be
Yeah. Why
fun,
not?
man.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
not?
Dude,
We're
my
old,
my
we're
friend.
married. Might as well go to the strip club.
True.
I'll print up some like $1 and $5 notes and just
She's gonna ask you what do you think about her, and you'd be like, nah, she's fat,
nah,
no
fat,
calves,
ugly.
no
Look at that
calves.
ass, too big. Yeah,
look at those hips, the waist to hip ratio. Like the fuck is this?
yeah.
You
And
just
then
have
I'll ask.
to shit on them as an IBB judge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll put her like fifth place, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
everybody's fifth to sixth, second
Fucking
tier,
crazy. If you
second
do
tier.
go
So
to through
mhm.
Europe, definitely message me.
Yeah, I
Like
will,
me.
I will.
Greece is
Just the
very
last
good.
time I went to Holland.
Hmm.
Every time I go back, it just gets worse. I mean, I left for a
Right.
reason, and then you start to get
Right.
aggravated by the things you didn't like. I love seeing my family, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
that's usually for a couple days. And I'm now at a point where I'd rather fly my family to Thailand
Yeah, exactly.
and have them
That's right.
here and just take care of them, give them a credit card and say, go have fun,
Yeah.
because in Thailand nothing is expensive anyway, and they'll feel guilty about spending money, so it wouldn't
Yeah, the
cost that
first
much.
week or month.
Yeah. They
They'd be
come for
like,
like 6
we,
months, and then my
we
credit
fucking
cards
raised
are all
him.
maxed out.
They'd be like, we raised him, bought him growth hormone and tren, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Mom
But
was a sweetheart, man. When I was going back home after traveling, I told my mom, I'm gonna go back on cycle, and I had to go live back home because I was going to be there temporarily. I said, I need to buy some growth hormone. Can I keep that in the fridge? And then I bought like 30 kits.
Of what?
So I had
Which
to
one?
clear out the entire fridge and put like 30 kits of Kicktropin in there
Kick
for people
Tropin?
who's Kicktropin, baby.
Dude, I used to buy the Norditropin from Colombia. It was $80 the Nordic pens, 35 IUs. And because in Colombia they check everything, like everything.
Yeah.
And they were disguised as markers. And they would just test the liquid, see that there's no drugs, send them over. And I used to get a fuck ton from there. Like that was the best growth hormone I've tried. Because at the questions that I've seen, we will dive into that as well later on. But that was very interesting. The Boldenone thing I wanted to cover simply because you made a video about it, and when I do a Q&A, everybody is like, "Oh, but Steve said this," and like I better talk to you about it than a fucking Q&A. So that's the only thing I want to ask you and give you my opinion and just see you where's the middle ground, if you don't mind.
So yeah, sure. So I'm slowly preparing for a video called "How Toxic is Boldenone?" So I'm going to look at all the scientific evidence regarding kidney toxicity and toxicity on other organs. And then what I'm going to do, which is going to take a lot of time, these studies that are performed on Boldenone, I'm going to see if they're also performed on other drugs. Because what you see a lot of times is that particular studies are only used in 1, 2, 3 compounds, but not the entire steroid family. So what I see already is that all these studies that show kidney toxicity in animal models when Boldenone is being used, which are good studies, some are a little bit wishy-washy, but others are performed quite good. Those have never been replicated on Primobolan or Mastrone or Tren or Nandrolone or Test.
Because those are human grade drugs.
No, not because of that. Simply because they haven't been performed. Right? It's an animal model that you can replicate on the other steroids. So many of these drugs that show toxicity in the brain or other organs, they've only been performed on a particular compound, but the entire steroid family hasn't been assessed regarding neurotoxicity. And if they are, then it's like Test, Nandrolone, Winstrol, and Tren, right? So now you have 4. Okay, those are pharmaceutical grade, so they want to see how that affects the brain. But you should make a separate assessment on every organ, not just animal models, every organ, pure from observational studies and perhaps in vivo, in vitro studies, and just check everything against each other and start ranking them. Now, I don't think those studies will ever be performed, but the problem is with a lot of educators and people in the space, they take this scientific evidence as hard fact and then say, well, we'd rather take Primobolan because there's no kidney toxicity. No. The studies on Primobolan haven't been performed in the same setting, so we don't know. Absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. So this is what I'm now slowly trying to piece together, and it will still take a couple of weeks. So guys, please don't bug me in the comment section.
Bug me.
Yeah, they'll bug you. Yeah, but they usually go to other educators. As Steve said this, and they'll take you out of context.
Yeah, they bug me. They bug me because, like, my philosophy regarding this is there's just one study that they're just flipping out on human fibers.
There's like 12 studies or 10 studies that
I'm
show
talking
some
humans.
issues.
I'm talking humans. So group A were on testosterone dianabol and nandrolone versus
Yeah.
nandrolone and test versus nandrolone, testosterone, and boldenone.
Right.
And when
Yeah.
they when they looked at the nephrological parameters, test plus nandrolone had the best outcome, then test nandrolone and dianabol, and the
Right.
worst was test nandrolone and NICU.
Boldenone.
In
Yep.
conclusion, boldenone, hepatotoxic, it's garbage, stay away from it. Like,
Yeah.
that's so fucked up. And you have to have a head-to-head comparison in order to
Hmm.
draw any sort of conclusion. And also, I
Yeah.
was thinking of it, right, as far as like damage, nephrological damage.
Mhm.
How do we know that androgens inherently do that? Like, they are
Yeah.
toxic to the kidneys and the heart
Exactly.
and the brain in a dose
Mhm.
dependent manner, supraphysiologically, right? So, Boldenone, you've been around way longer than me, so you know
Mhm.
yourself. Even on the forums, and even Derek, when he made a video on EQ years ago, he
Mhm.
used the term "it's better off to use it to oil your bike chains." Right? Some
Mhm.
people hate it, not because of side effects, because of its lack of efficacy relative to other
Yeah.
androgens that they can
Right.
take at a lesser dosage. So usually Boldenone is ran at around 400 plus, even a
Right.
gram or two for
Mhm.
weeks. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen acute drop of EGFR, cystatin
No,
C,
never.
creatinine, and urine
Never.
on EQ?
Never.
Never. So
Ever.
where the fuck did this come from? I don't
And I've coached a
understand it.
lot of so I've coached a lot of bodybuilders that were very diligent with their blood work every month,
Yeah.
every 3 months, checking their creatinine, checking their
Yep.
cystatin C, doing your 24-hour urine collection test to see if
Mm-hmm.
the GFR, the
Proteinuria.
actual GFR, is
Mm-hmm.
going down. Nothing.
Nothing. And you have
Nothing. And
trend.
ultrasounds once a
Yep.
year.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
Now,
Exactly.
no biopsies, to be fair. No
I did it.
biopsies. No, you did a biopsy?
Yep, I have a kidney
Oh,
biopsy to the because of my autoimmune
right.
disease, because of the lupus. I had to, and
Mhm.
basically the whole point is my glomeruli on the kidneys. Those are the filters above the kidneys. They
Right.
were intact. The lupus is screwing my tubules,
Hmm.
so the glomeruli were not they were intact. So there
Right.
was not androgen related glomeruli issue, because
Right.
protein loss is mediated when pressure pushes protein
Right.
particles through the glomeruli into the urine,
To
and
enter
that's
urine. Yeah.
protein loss. And I also did an electrophoresis, urine
Okay.
electrophoresis, and I was losing a small amount of albumin from the actual inflammation from the lupus. So,
Right.
and I was on EQ. So that's why I haven't.
And it was an
You know,
EQ.
yeah, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, where's the supposed toxicity?" The only thing that came to mind is if it's inherently inflammatory, because like trembolone is notorious to cause FSGS, focal segmented
Yeah. Hmm.
glomerulosclerosis. That's immunomodulated, and that's because the video that you made on Tren, that it exacerbates pro-inflammatory prostaglandin
Right.
productions. That
Hmm.
explains it. The reason
Yeah.
is prostaglandin, bradykinin,
Hmm.
histamine. They're the mediators of the inflammatory response, which is good if it's acute. Over a prolonged period of time, the
That's
immune
horrible.
system, you're constantly inflammatory, in an
Yeah.
inflammatory state, and your body is like, what the fuck? That affects your immune system, and now the memory T cells are starting to get whacked, and they
Right.
start signaling the beta cells to start producing antibodies, and they
Yeah. And
start
then start
attacking,
attacking your cell. Yeah.
yeah, attacking everything, and that's
Hmm.
how you get autoimmune issues. And usually the kidneys always fail apart. Chris Bumstead, when he was diagnosed with the Berger syndrome
Hmm.
a few years ago, the first thing that they did was a kidney biopsy,
Yeah.
right? And it always affects the kidneys, heart, and liver are three organs that are like interestingly tied in together.
Hmm.
Kidneys start taking beating first, liver is second, and heart just goes in
Yeah. Their
heart
heart
failure.
fills last. Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly. So even if you backpedal and try to go by method of deduction, I cannot comprehend how boldenone could be that nephrotoxic, especially because it's used the longest and
Mhm.
also at the highest doses.
Yeah.
So that's why the whole premise is like super weird to me. And when I do my Q and A's on Instagram,
Mm.
and I talk about EQ, and people are like, "But Vigorous Steve said it's like poisonous and this and that."
No,
I'm
I
like,
never said that. I
I'm
said
not
there's some
fucking
evidence. I said there's some
yeah,
evidence of kidney toxicity in
yeah,
animal models.
yes,
So this is the
exactly,
problem with the audience. They misconstrue what you're saying.
exactly. I knew it.
So
I knew it.
yeah. So, and I also understand that there's a huge difference between what you can find in the scientific evidence and what actually plays out in the real world. So
True.
this is why, with evidence-based coaching, I always
Hmm.
laugh a little bit because it just means that you're a little bit behind on everything else because it's the overall experience that is going to give you results. Plus, you need to combine the scientific evidence and screen that scrupulously,
True.
then pass it through the filter of your experience, which takes decades, years to build up. And then you need to figure out how much of this evidence and your experience is actually applicable to you and your clients. How can you
Yes.
reproduce this scientific evidence? And in many cases, a lot of the scientific evidence you can't reproduce, or you need to look at the entire body of knowledge, really go into the metadata, and then which takes time. You can't just go by the abstracts, which is a lot of what
No.
the science-based guys do. They just read the abstracts. They don't
Yeah.
look at the method of
Conclusion.
analysis. They don't look
Yep.
at the groups.
Yep.
They don't look at the restrictions.
Yep.
So go to Science Hub, put in the study, read it 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and then draw your conclusion with 5 other studies that you can find. Cherry
True.
picking studies. So this is a huge issue. But people like outside scientific evidence. It's good. Most of the time there's so many flaws in there that
Very.
so that's why I'm a more hands-on experience guy. I know you are, and that's why guys like us usually get the results, because we also look at the blood work, and we
True.
also look at the diet and the lifestyle interventions, which many of these studies don't cover.
Yep.
They don't cover all these little drug interactions. They just look at one drug separately, and they don't account for all the possible drug interactions which you could have. I just made a video about post-finasteride syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and ketoconazole is a very potent CYP3A4 inhibitor.
Yes, it
And
is.
what gets metabolized through CYP3A4?
Many
Finasteride and
drugs.
dutasteride. So the guys that stop finasteride and dutasteride, they might exacerbate the symptoms by
The
taking
clearance.
ketoconazole. Yeah, because it slows the clearance.
True. True.
This is, people don't think about this.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, this is a brilliant statement. And it also applies to the longevity harm
Mhm,
mitigating drugs. When you're on telmisartan, when
mhm.
you're on Wellbutrin, when you're on I don't know, statins, when you're on like
Yeah.
10 different drugs that all go via potentially second pass liver metabolism, and they
Mhm.
interact via the cytochrome P450 and the subtypes through A4 to
Yeah.
the 6
Mhm.
and whatever. The likelihood of them inhibiting them, those enzymes, and prolonging the pharmacokinetics and consequently the dynamics is fucking absurd. Like,
Yeah.
there are drugs that if you pair them with another, you have to significantly decrease the dose or even cut it out, or you can die. People
Right.
completely forget that. And this
Yeah.
is what biohackers are doing. Like, they're gonna read the study, let's say
Yeah.
for Alzheimer's disease or for, I don't know, anything relating brain function, and they just hop on camera and discuss these are the drugs. And first they go up, they start under the assumption that a healthy guy with a normal
Mhm.
cognitive structure, when they introduce them, they're gonna be enhanced. Like a
Mhm.
natural guy takes steroids, more muscles. The
Right.
brain doesn't work like that. Completely discredit,
Mhm.
this drug metabolism and interactions, because
Yeah.
like if you take something like Wellbutrin and add something that also goes via the CYP to the 6, you can induce seizures, you can have an epileptic attack.
Right.
So that's very scary.
No,
Or
it's
you're
very
on an
risky. Yeah.
SSRI, and you abuse alcohol or take amphetamines or MDMA, serotonin
Yeah.
syndrome, you
Or yeah,
fucking can
LSD.
potentially
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, people do not even take this into consideration. They think, oh, I'm on a prevention drug. This is to prolong my health. First of all, you're 170 pounds soaking wet. You don't like, you're not somebody that your circumstances are killing you. People
Mhm.
like you, like me, with super physiological amount of muscle that train. We're in an inflammatory state through our lifestyle, through our physical stress, mental stress. All of those factors are working against us from a health perspective, so we should be very more careful than the biohackers online that are like,
Well, what I find weird is that sometimes I follow these podcasts of biohackers, like extreme biohackers, and they don't look healthy at all.
they don't have muscles, they don't look the part.
It's not necessarily about muscles, but they look like they're in severe oxidative state, like many of the smokers and drinkers are. Like their face is gray. And of course, I don't look the best on online sometimes either. But if you see people chronically just looking unhealthy, and said, "What are you biohacking for?" You can get a lot of health out of lifestyle. You don't need the drugs. You can add the drugs in later. And even me, I mean, I've had my periods where I, do like crazy cocktails with drugs, but at least I try to research all of the potential drug interactions before I piece it together. Whether those are beneficial or negative, those are all things that I have to keep into consideration. So, yeah, and it's very complicated. And many of these drug interactions are also not documented. So that's why you have to slowly start adding stuff in, and then document how you feel. You don't I'm always mortified when I put these protocols online, what I'm doing. Yeah, and people copy it right away. Like, dude, why are you doing this?
To be like Steve.
Yeah, I want to be like Steve. But I mean, I'm familiar with these drugs and I can metabolize them correctly. But I mean, I guess it's up to the audience, to do what they want to do with their body.
What I personally do, I read up on a drug, and then I Google pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics. I look how they're metabolized via which enzymes, write it down, and then compare with everything else and see whether there's a drug interaction.
Right.
If it is, I'm going to see how severe it is, and I would make an adjustment of the dose or just cut it out. No way around it. Nobody fucking does that. And also never introduce 30 drugs at once. If something goes bad,
I'm gonna give one of my cats some attention.
No problem.
What's up? Come here. This is number 3.
Oh my god, so cute. And balls, just like us.
Yeah, this is like me, but she has 2 colored eyes, you see? So one is yellow, one is blue. Hey, look at over there. Oh, you know what? Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Okay.
They were worshipped in Egypt.
Yeah.
They were.
Well, those cats were different. So they didn't have Sphinx cats in Egypt, but they had something similar with very short hair. These are specially bred in Canada, and then Russia took it to the next level. So these are all from Russia, and they're like high quality, purebred cats. Very expensive.
How much does one cost? I'm interested because I breed dogs.
This one was
okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Fuck. I love
her.
dogs.
I love her so much, dude. I love her so much. Every day she wakes me up and starts rubbing me on my head, and then I pet her back, and then I got 3 other ones, but they're a little bit cheaper. So this one is, because she has different colored eyes. She's more expensive than everybody else. And then the first one we got was about $2,000. Second one was $1,500. The third one was also $2,000, or the fourth one was also $4,000. No, fourth one was $2,000, but this one was like close to $4,000. So
well, you get what you paid for.
Yeah. No, they're lovely, man. This is like, my life is fucking complete now. It's like you got all these little critters running around, and it's like you got your dog, right? So it's like you're having a little child.
3 dogs.
3 dogs. Yeah, I got 4 cats. So it's beautiful, man. It's crazy.
One sec. So this is a red poodle.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, she's beautiful.
She's a red poodle. Look at his face. I have 3 of these. I'm gonna send you their Instagram. You should follow.
They got an Instagram.
Oh yeah, Red Poodles Macedonia.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
your
yeah.
girlfriend probably made. Yeah, my wife made like an Instagram for our cats too.
Mm,
It's
This is
hilarious.
this is this is Ria. It's her birthday, so I have to show her as well. Look at this
Oh,
face.
cute. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
People in the
birthday.
comment section should say happy birthday to Ria.
Happy birthday,
Should be
Ria.
should be stoked. But yeah, they have so many medals because they're show dogs.
Right.
They compete, and now their pricing is around 3,000 euros. In the
Yeah.
States, they would sell for 20K approximately.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
insane. So like
That's
these
when
dogs,
that's when there's a puppy, right? Not at an adult
yeah,
level.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now they're more expensive because they have
Yeah.
titles. They
Right.
have multiple national and universal titles, like first
Mm,
place trophies, and a lot like dog breeding. Especially this breed
mm.
is a very um, cost effective. Like return of investment is insane,
All
but I
right.
would
Yeah,
never
because
sell
they
them, obviously. But
no, but
yeah,
if
they make.
you are they neutered, castrated?
No, they're not castrated. They're all
Okay.
female. So
All right. So
you
if you
breed
want to get
them.
into breeding, yeah, if you want to get into breeding, you could at one point, you know?
Oh yeah, my mom. We have 5 dogs each year,
Mm.
and we keep
Okay.
one. So it's a good
All right.
endeavor. So
Yeah,
like
I can imagine. Yeah.
if we were in the States, like they would make more money than drug dealers.
Yeah.
Like a
Well,
fucking
what
poodle would.
are you peddling? I peddle poodles, baby.
Yeah,
I got money in the back. Yeah,
it's more
20K.
gangster than being a drug dealer, bro. Like
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
yeah.
But
You're right. You
but
go to the back of the car, you know, you open the trunk, there's this little cute poodle looking at you, you know,
yeah,
purebred, pedigree, vaccinated, everything ready. 20K.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
give you
exactly.
25. Sold. Get out of here.
Fucking sold, because
Yeah.
they're fanatics. They're fanatics. They
Yeah.
they love dogs, so they don't care. But yeah, that's a good
Same as
endeavor.
me, man. I wanted a cat, and so I went to this cat breedery, one of the best ones in Bangkok, and I saw the one that I just showed you, Zelda, but she wasn't for sale.
Hmm.
So I offered 1,000,000 baht because they wanted to use her for breeding. 1,000,000 baht is about $30,000, and
Whoa.
yeah, I wanted because I came there, we connected right away. Right, she was playful, energetic, right, Zelda? Yeah, you want to come back? So come here. Come here. So she was very affectionate right away. So I offered $30,000, but they didn't want to sell her because
Oh.
you know, she was supposed to be a breeding cat, right? You were supposed to make babies, that you couldn't have babies. So they're trying to
Oh,
scale
really?
back. And then they said, you know what, we're offering these 8 cats for sale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want one, you can adopt one. I said, what about Zelda? Or you know, her real name was Fumio. Oh,
If it was
Jesus.
a male, you could
Female.
have charged if it was a male, you could have charged for a consultation, buy some recombinant FSH and LH,
Yeah,
do a full-blown fertility protocol,
yeah.
uh, and bang on that. But yeah, it's
I worked
interesting.
my ass off
Actually,
to afford these cats, man.
I wanna ask you, because
Mhm.
we stumbled upon fertility. Have you
Yeah.
ever been on HRT and used
Mhm.
recombinant FSH plus ACG and being
No,
able to?
no, I have it. I have it in the fridge. So I have HMG, recombinant FSH.
Mhm.
I'm getting recombinant ACG, and maybe I get recombinant LH as well, but that's very expensive. So I have
Jesus.
Ovitrel. Ovitrel is, I think, the recombinant ACG. I got recombinant FSH and HMG in the fridge, and that's what I'm going to use next year to get my wife pregnant. Right now, I just
Mm.
use, you know, purified ACG.
If you take recombinant FSH, right, which is bioidentical,
Mhm.
plus ACG, which is an LH mimetic,
Mhm.
shouldn't that in theory get the job done?
It should, yeah, it should. But you know me, I'm still going to run my experiments. So I'm going to check my fertility and different protocols.
Right. Yeah, of
Masturbate in
course.
a cup, you know, at the clinic. every month and then see what's going on. Now, of course, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a delay because it takes like 80 days or 90 days for semen to mature and be ready for ejaculation. So you really have to wait for each protocol to kind of play out. But my fertility right now is okay. I'm running 500 IUs ACG 3 times per week. And
Hmm.
I think the last check I did, I had like 50 to 60 million sperm per milliliter. And that was on cycle.
Interesting. And motility, shape, all of that.
So that was all okay. Yeah. So the last
Mhm.
time I came off with the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, it took months before my mortality, morphology, motility, and there's not enough defects, and so it's normal, healthy sperm. I had a very high count at almost
Mhm.
180 million per 1 milliliter, so it was insane, and the volume was stupid, because I was doing like a protocol to increase semen volume. So I was like, they're like,
Mhm.
holy shit, this is like gold. It's like freeze it.
Yes. Freeze it
Put it in
and
the
give me your
fridge.
number.
Yeah.
And give me
Yeah.
your
No, no,
number.
no, 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 no. They know that I'm married because they went to the same clinic many times.
Uh,
So
I'll-
I froze that sperm because it was such high quality that I said, okay, if I'm going back on cycle and it takes a while, then at least I have some on standby.
when was
But
this?
I'd rather do it the old-fashioned way. It was in Bangkok.
No. When? What time frame?
This was a little over a year ago. Yeah, 1.5 years ago. When I shrank down to nothing, remember when I did the fasting and I
Yeah.
ended up looking like a stick, and then I started training again, and then I looked like a fucking stick. So I started training again, and I didn't want to go back on cycle right away, and I wanted to check my heart functioning, and that was right around the time that I was going to get vaxxed, and
Mhm.
so I wanted to make sure that my heart was just functioning correctly because I was scared to death, and I
Mhm.
wish I could take it back, but I can't. Anyway, so it took a little bit longer. I was like off cycle for 9 months, and then around the 8th, 9th month mark, my fertility
Mhm.
was exceptionally good. So I froze that. And that was without ACG, that was without any fertility meds. It just takes longer. So now that I've been using ACG for the last year, I would
Mhm.
expect that my fertility is going to be returning substantially faster compared to the last time. And again, the last semen analysis that I did a couple months ago shows that my fertility was pretty fucking good.
I wanted to ask you, because you had the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I assume that was
Mhm.
not something acute; it built up over time. You were aware of it. Did it start off with just a minor elevations in LH, in
No,
AST,
I
LT,
didn't.
any of
I
that?
didn't catch it. I didn't catch it because I did my research on NAFLD and all the symptoms were not there. The only thing that were elevated were my liver enzymes. My triglycerides were not elevated.
Hmm.
My
How high?
lipids, 80, 100, 150 sometimes, but then it was always related to taking oral steroids.
Mm. And
Yeah. And then, of course, if I would take a week off from training,
mhm.
my liver enzymes would fall by half. So it would come to the top of the reference range at 40, 50. So I figured, okay, maybe it's training related, maybe it's
True.
drug related. So I didn't catch it. So it might have been there for like 2 or 3 years, maybe longer, you know?
And did you check your HDL LDL ratio?
Mm, yeah. I mean, my HDLs and LDLs usually like 1 to 2, or maybe a little bit less.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
it's not bad.
Did you have any symptoms, like any legitimate side effects that warranted that you
The
were
only
like,
thing
"Hey,
that I
this is
noticed
serious"?
is that like getting like really, really shredded was difficult.
How so?
Just the final stages of fat metabolism was difficult. So I would have these stubborn body fat areas, and I've seen it with competitors that their liver was like in a poor state of health because they took too much orals, and then the
Mm,
metabolism of the long chain triglycerides to short chain, which is required, that was
mhm.
impaired. And whether that's due to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease or just issues with the liver itself. I mean, I
Because if
knew
you think,
guys that had like hemangiomas in the liver, like 4 or 5 of
yeah,
them, and then they
Andres
did contests.
Munzer.
No, I mean competitors here in Thailand.
No,
They
no,
were,
but I
yeah, Munzer had the same thing. Yeah, Munzer had the same thing.
yeah,
So
Alex extreme.
yeah, so most of the time that's congenital. So I
Mhm.
have hemangioma in my liver, and it's just there. It's been there for a very long time. I knew about that
Uh,
for a very long time.
did ultrasound show anything?
The ultrasound showed just a normal
Ketosis.
normal non-alcoholic fatty liver disease symptoms.
Hmm. And
So blurry
what was your
outline,
approach?
the high echotonicity.
Hmm. And how did you attenuate? Like, what was your approach that you take, and for how long? And uh, how does that relate now? Like, do you notice? Because now you're back on. Do you do anything
Mhm.
different in that regard?
I don't
Um,
eat so much anymore.
Sorry, you don't
I
need.
don't eat, and I don't eat a ton of food anymore. So I think partially is due to the drugs like insulin and growth hormone never coming off cycle. You need to be on normal endogenous levels of testosterone for your what is it, the stem cells in the cell, the hepatocyte, to really regenerate. And maybe I was not getting enough choline for the fat to really metabolize from the liver, even though I was getting like 4 to 5 grams of choline from my diet already. And I've had periods where I supplemented with choline in inositol for months to even years. And maybe later on I removed that from my protocol. That was my mistake, because you see, you take choline and inositol and your liver enzymes don't really budge. They don't go
Right.
down, they don't go up. So after all, you're like, why am I taking this? There's
True.
no tangible result.
True. True.
But in reality, I should have been taking it. So that I still take now choline, whether that's phosphatidylcholine or choline from supplements, or eggs twice per day. So I do get a decent amount of choline in my diet.
Hmm.
I'm on Tatka year round, and I eat
At what dose?
between 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day.
Okay. Okay.
So maintenance is like 500 milligrams per day, and 1,000 is on cycle.
And
And I eat a lot less food.
yeah, that's
3,000
what you should
calories
do.
per day. Yeah, that's
Uh,
the most important, because the way I fixed the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and got my liver in prime condition, so prime that they had to do the test like 5 times, because they couldn't
mhm,
believe that the what is it called, the fibroscan, right? They
mhm.
have a little jackhammer they put on the side of your liver, and they pulsate through it, and
In
then
reverse.
they see this, they vibrate the liver and see how much fibrosis and fat buildup is present, and you get a number back. But my
Yeah.
numbers were so low that they figured he came in with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and these numbers are like bottom or below the reference range for a guy his age. So I improved it so much that they had to do the test 5 times, and then they realized, all right, this is really your liver. Your liver is really, really healthy. There's no fibrosis and no
Hmm.
fat, or like normal levels of fat for a healthy guy that's like 25 years old, not
Do you think
38
that
years old.
do you think if you split your meals in a way where you eat more at, let's say you split it in 3 meals rather than eating every 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever,
Mhm.
would be beneficial in that regard? Like eating bigger meals at once rather than just splitting
Maybe
as a bodybuilder.
it's a bit difficult, because you have to look at it at insulin release and what kind of fat you're eating, and if it's a lot of saturated fat. That's why I think when I did that carnivore diet experiment for a month, I ate a ton of saturated fat. And I think
Hmm.
a decent amount of that got lodged in my liver. So that's why I'm always against carnivore diet with extreme caloric intake, with butter and cheese and tallow and fatty steak. I don't think that's a good idea. Carnivore diet is great if you have intestinal inflammation and you keep
Hmm.
your calories around 2,500, and you don't start adding in this added fat, the cheese, the butter, and the tallow, which is
The
full with
American way.
saturated fat. Yeah.
The American
So
way.
yeah, the American way. Yeah. So I would not go that route. If you just eat meat for a while to remove your inflammation, I think carnivore diet is a great idea. But you'll have to restrict your calories. Don't do what I did, where you're
Right.
doing carnivore during the off season and you want to build size, and there's nothing else to eat besides fat sources with are full with saturated fat. So besides that, so I avoid the saturated fat. I eat a lot of omega 3s. I do occasional fasts. I always done that. So every 3 months I fast for a week. I eat a lot of
Mm.
vegetables, and last time I did a fibro scan, it levels went up slightly, but still very normal parameters. And I did an ultrasound. No fatty liver whatsoever.
It's very interesting that you mentioned the fasting, and a lot of biohackers are now implementing. One guy asked me, "Oh, I'm gonna fast for 24 hours on Monday," and he was like, "Do I take growth hormone to,
Hmm.
or would that impair, um, causing would that exacerbate the senescence of cell because it promotes proliferation, leading to senescence and
Mhm.
apoptosis. And I'm like, dude, you're doing that once just once this week. I don't know if it's once per week or whatever, but I mean,
Mhm.
that's not gonna prolong your lifespan. You either focus balls deep into one direction or another. So
Plus, if you want
excessive.
autophagy, all you need to do is just stop eating for 2 or 3
Fuck
days,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you get
just
a
fucking atrophy. Go
yeah,
to shit.
and then, yeah, you get the autophagy anyway, you know? So I've been doing these fasts for, like, 4 or 5 years now. Like, when I
Hmm.
first met Tony Hughes in Phuket, like, 4 or 5 years ago, and I told him about fasting, he his, you know, his jaw dropped to the floor. He said, "Are you not afraid about losing weight?" I said, "You lose weight, but you don't lose muscle. It comes right back. You don't
Yeah,
even
true,
lose
true,
strength." It's not a
true.
big it's not a big deal, you know? So, I think that it helps tremendously just with perseverance and intestinal health and then just cleaning out once in a while.
And
And
inflammation.
then yeah, and reducing inflammation, exactly, and detoxifying and, it's tons of different benefits.
When
And yeah, go ahead.
when I because I have an autoimmune issue and
Mhm.
I can decisively tell, like, no doubt about it, when I'm inflamed,
Mhm.
everything, because there's a pro-inflammatory cytokines being produced. Just the normal inflammatory process is kickstarts.
Mhm.
Kickstarted inflammatory prostaglandins, whatnot.
Right.
When the body is inflamed, growth and proliferation are not gonna happen. You're
Right.
fighting cachexia, you're fighting your and also serotonin gets downregulated
Mhm.
exceptionally because your body doesn't want you to be sedated and normal and happy. There's a fucking war going inside you. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
full of adrenaline,
Mhm.
you're in pain because a lot of the inflammatory cytokines, interleukin 6, 2, TNF alpha, and whatever, they cause fevers, they cause decreased vascular resistance, so that's why you get
Mhm.
edema. When you have
Right.
physical
Mhm.
trauma, like if I hit you with a bat in the shoulder, you're gonna swell. Well, if you have
Right.
inflammation systemically, you're gonna swell. You're not
Yeah.
gonna be primed for growth. And it's really interesting when people bulk and they throw in things like tran or like all of this inflammatory shit, when in reality they're just shooting themselves everywhere. The best look you'll have, the best progression and overall longevity and function is when you're in an anti-inflammatory state, when you're
Right.
healthy.
Mhm.
Health, performance, looks, and everything go hand in hand. And cognitive
Right.
function. When you're sick, you're not mentally sharp.
No,
You're
right, and it's
retarded.
a highly inflammatory state,
Yeah,
yeah, that's why
yeah. So
I was mentioning about the carrier oils and taking step backs and detoxifying and cleaning
exactly,
out and just it's okay to take a step back. I mean, growth is not linear. It's a
it's
couple
not
weeks. That's why we have these mesocycles or whatever.
true.
You take a step back, you normalize, and then you continue, And sometimes you
Mm,
need to take months off to
true,
normalize.
true.
And
Es-
I've always done that. You just take a couple months off. Okay, I still get all of my size back and then some.
and
It's
then some,
yeah,
and
and
then
then some.
some.
So you always make progress this way. That's why I always laugh at the guys that push pedal to the metal and just keep going, keep going, keep going. And at one point, their entire immune system is shot and their
True,
lymphatic system is overloaded, and you
true,
can see that. You
true,
can see it. And
true.
they have like swollen lymph nodes here and in their groin and in their armpits. And so what is going on? I said, well, you need to detox fast, come off drugs,
Yep.
and take 5 steps back. Yeah, I'll lose all my size. No, you'll just lose the bloat. You're not that big
Even
that you
if
think it is. You know that you got 10 kilos of water on you that should be not be there.
true. Also,
Yeah.
it's in the interstitial layer. It's not even
Yeah.
intramuscularly. You
No,
don't
it's
look your
interstitial.
best. If you lose it and regain 2 kgs within the muscles, you look like a completely different man. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I think a big reason why a lot of bodybuilders today are lacking in the shapes that we're used to in the 90s and all of that, because
Mhm.
they abuse a fuck ton of shit and they're in a pro-inflammatory state
Yep.
24/7. When you take a flight to a different country, your legs, your limbs, your hands, you
Yeah.
shouldn't swell up with interstitial fluid. You should
No.
be discomfortable, joint pain, because you're big and all that. That's different.
Right.
But like if you physically have edema, like there's something fucking going
And
wrong.
most guys have
Like,
edema already when they go into the plane. So a way around this, what I'm going to do when I fly to the US for 24
mhm.
hours, fast.
Perfect.
Fast. And every
There you
opportunity
go.
I have at the airports, stopovers in the plane, walk around, stimulate the
True.
lymphatic system. Just drink a lot of water. They'll probably
Yep.
think that I'm smuggling cocaine. You don't want any food? No, just water. So,
They'll-
sir, how many balloons you got in your stomach? 135. I got full with coke. You
and
got the
now
penicillin ready?
you have the shaved head and everything. When
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like, what the fuck?
when I was in
So,
Germany, the moment I
yeah.
walked out at the airport, they saw me and there was like a group of 15 officers. I only
Oh
needed
no.
like a sleeve tattoo, and I'd be the perfect
Yeah,
stereotype
be
for
the
a drug
perfect
dealer.
target, right? I wonder
But
if I'm gonna
yeah,
get profiled at the US. I mean, I'm more muscular. I'll
you
probably get searched. I'm sure I'll get
uh
searched.
doesn't matter.
No,
My
that
my
doesn't matter, but it just takes extra time.
my friend, because he looks like I don't know how to say it, like he's from the Middle East, overly
Yeah,
tanned, beard, dark, all that shit.
looks
They
like a
look at
terrorist.
him like a terrorist. They
Yeah,
grab him. They
yeah.
put him in a room with like immigrants,
Oh,
Mexicans. He waits 6 hours there, and they're investigating him. When was the last time you came here? They ask him for proof of funds. Like nobody walks around with like 30K in his pocket. He
no.
couldn't show them his bank details because he had no internet, and they literally just scratched his visa and they deported him back.
Oh no.
That's
Yeah, I'm
fucked
really
up.
scared of this. I'm really scared of this if it will happen. I
You
don't
should
think
you
so, but
Yeah, it's a matter of who you run into. It's all
I
about
think
that.
so. I mean, I'm always very cordial and nice at the immigration. So, but it's, sometimes you got people with a bad day. I've had it happen here in Thailand as well. You just catch somebody with a bad day and they just make your life a
Yeah,
living hell. And all my paperwork was correct, never overstayed. I always did my
yeah.
90-day reports. They put you aside for an hour, they go through everything.
Just
And then
just
after a
look at
while, I get pissed off, start making some phone calls. And then, somebody from behind runs to this, and not this guy.
just just convince
You
convince him.
if just let me fucking go. I got more important things to do.
Just convince him that he's sick. Tell him that his hairline is fucked up and you can help. Look at his ankles. Tell him that he has like kidney problems. And I'm like, I'm your doctor. Listen to me,
Yeah,
buddy. We're gonna be
yeah.
friends. I'm not gonna charge you for a consultation. And
Yeah,
like
right.
you
I'll help
would be
you out.
like,
Yeah, normally I charge
yeah.
$1,000 for this, but let me help you out.
Well, I mean, getting into the states, that's a
Yeah.
worthwhile investment.
No, I
Uh,
think
but yeah,
I think I'll be okay. It's I've been to so many countries, and 99% of the time it's not an issue. But yeah, if you get profiled, you just have a couple minutes that you're like, oh, you know,
yeah,
open your
it's a
bag.
stress.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Laos and they opened my bag and they would just start searching. And I told the lady that was searching my bag, I said, roll up your fucking sleeves. You're not going through my bag, because Laos is a huge exporter for heroin and
Oh, really?
methamphetamines. Yeah, that comes from Myanmar, so at the
Uh-huh.
north, and it transports down. And it's like, this is not going to happen to me. So they start searching my bag on the way back, flying to Thailand. They said, you can search my bag. That's fine, but you're going to roll up your sleeves. Why? I said, I don't want you to put stuff in my bag.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't
That's
do
the
that. I
biggest
said,
fear.
prove it. Don't give me this
True,
shit.
true,
Don't give me
true.
this shit.
Can end your life. Good
Yeah,
thinking.
right. And you've heard these horror stories, and not that they're going to put you in jail for the rest of your life, but they're going to bribe you. It happens all over
Yeah,
Asia.
extortion.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest
I've
problem. I
heard these
agree with
horror
you.
stories. Yeah, you got to be careful, man. That Asia is very, very safe, but until it goes wrong, and then you're fucked.
Yeah, they have ways of fucking you.
Yeah,
That's the
and
issue. That's why.
like if that happens in Laos or Vietnam or other countries, I wouldn't know who to call, because I don't really know people there. In Thailand, okay, I can make a phone
Right,
call and fix issues or mediate. But
right.
in other countries, it's a mess. So, and I don't know anybody there. So yeah, that was a scary moment. And then all they
Yeah, I can
wanted was
imagine
my
that.
all they wanted was my lighter, because I brought cigars, and then they saw this lighter, and with lighters, right, you turn it up a little bit more so you get a bigger flame, so the flame is like this tall. It's one of
Yeah,
those. very
That's
potent.
a
Like,
fucking weapon.
yeah, it was a fucking weapon. Yeah, it's like a lightsaber, so you can burn like
Yeah,
holes in the plane.
yeah, exactly.
And they're like, you can't bring this up. I said, if I remove the gas, can I bring it out? Yeah, that's okay. So I just, I took one of her pens, I stuck it in the back. Gas shoots out everywhere. Your fingers freeze, and then I, made sure that it wasn't working, and then I could go in the plane.
Dude, it was 2017 when I started with Enhanced Athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was because they blew up in the SARM industry, and I
Mm-hmm.
was in line with the whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to get free SARMs from them. I
Right.
used extensively S4. Then they sent me some ACP 105. So I tried everything, did blood work and whatnot.
Right.
And at the gym here, a lot of people that are kids watched the whole YouTube game, and they were coming up to me and asking me for SARMs to resell to them, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not gonna sell you SARMs because that's not it's not worth it, because if I'm selling you something, you can set me up. It's illegal. It's an
Right. Mm-hmm.
illegal transaction, because I don't know these kids, that they're random people. I'm not
Just
just
tell them
gonna.
to buy it online.
Yeah, exactly. So there was this dude who was working at the gym. He was new, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a real suck up. And I just continuously said no, no, no. And one time I get a letter and from customs to go to the airport there, where the main custom is.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me that I have, I think, 15 days or I would be brought physically there. So it was like
Oh
completely
wow.
different. And I was like, okay. So what happens is, I don't know, their setup changed for whatever reason. And they shipped me the SARMs and I think a t shirt from Peru. And
Oh.
Peru is on a blacklist.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like,
That's where they send all the
what?
coke from.
Exactly. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I double checked. They were like, no, it's the SARMs. They just shipped from that warehouse. And I'm like,
Uh.
fuck, okay. And mind you, law school, fourth grade,
Mm.
9.8 average. So like I was the best in my class, and I was like
Oh, that's the
studying
last
for
thing
for
you
a
want
fucking
happening.
criminal law.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're absolutely sure? They showed me the picture, the tracking number, all that. Okay, I'm gonna
Mm.
go. I go there and there's a fucking SWAT team. I shit you not. Like there
Jeez.
were like 15 guys,
Uh-huh.
like fully equipped to take out Osama bin Laden.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, Jesus. And before I went there, I needed something. I took Adderall. I did a bunch of shit. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was I was living in a different dimension. I was like mentally in Peru. I was like
Right.
omnipotent and omnipresent. Like I was everywhere at the
Which
same
which
time.
which nootropics did you take? Yeah, all of them. I took all the
I had no
nootropics.
idea. I just did everything,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay. So there's this dude. There are inspectors there. One gives you a psychological profile, and he was a
Mhm.
fucking retard. Like you could tell he never finished. He barely finished like primary school, and
Mhm.
he's like examining me this and that. And I'm like, listen, guys, I'm gonna, give you tell it to you as it is, very bluntly. Like
Mhm.
I have a 9.8 average in law school. I wouldn't be here asking for illegal drugs. Like that's the ultimate idiotic
Yeah.
move anybody would do. So I explained to them what's in the context. Like they were vials, liquid
Mhm.
SARMs, so you could see, right? And they were like, no, we need to test them. um we got a mail at
Mhm.
customs that you're importing drugs. And I'm like, okay. So they literally take the tests that Dave Palumbo sells from
Yeah.
Alibaba or some shit, like those kinds of tests,
Yeah.
and they have this vial which was like half empty, and one of the guys was like, "Hey boss, is this enough?" I'm like, "You only need one drop. That's plenty."
Yeah.
And he's like, "The kid is right. That's enough." Like they had no idea what they're doing, and
Probably
like they
nobody crazy enough to import drugs from Peru, so that's probably like the first job they've had in a month, to do this
Well,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
but they test drugs from other
Yeah.
countries. Like that's their job.
Uh,
That's the fucking government,
all right.
and they had no idea how to use them. So they take a strip and they take there was ACP 105. They put
Yeah.
it, and it shows two lines.
Uh,
He's like, boss, two lines, it's positive. And I'm like, did you bother look at it, the legend, like what the two
the
lines
positive.
entail?
Yeah.
And he said negative. And I'm like, this is not a pregnancy test. Any substance can have different lines. Like some can be three positive, one can be
Right.
negative. Like
Yeah. Or
you have
different
to,
colors.
yeah, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
take it within the context. They had
Yeah.
no idea what they were doing.
And they
And
have
that's when
reagents, and some of them are ultraviolet. So it's a little bit more
I
complicated than
was
just getting
I
a
was
couple
like
lines.
fucking scared. I'm like, these
Of course.
retards, like those are the internet online forum dudes. They're
Hmm.
dictating the outcome of our life.
Yeah.
They had no idea, and he got pissed and he was like, "Give me that shit. You don't know how to do shit." And he's like looking at the paper. He like did this and threw it, grabbed another one, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was legitimate scared, and also I was because I
Mm.
had long hair. I was like, if they prick one hair follicle from my head, I'm done for life.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, because I was like super zoned in. I was looking at everything at the same time. I was probably looking at you wherever you are in in
Right.
Thailand at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that, I was like, I'm gonna sue you because you're damaging my goods. This is sponsorship, blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
got away with it. And next day at the gym when I went, one of the inspectors there was at the gym, and he was talking to
Mm.
the worker that was asking me to sell him SARMs. So like I'm
Uh,
pretty fucking sure he was the guy that tried to
fucking snake.
cause that. And I was for the next 2 years I was like contempting to probably have him in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah,
But
you
it
get
doesn't
vindictive,
matter.
when this kind of stuff happens. But this stuff will always happen.
It
There's always
will.
pricks out there that will just try to ruin your game. I mean, it
That's true,
happens to
but
me once in a while too. People just start talking shit. I'm like,
the problem is in America, in bigger countries, nobody really give that much fuck about you to go out of
mm-hmm.
their way to cause harm unless you're within the same business, or there's conflict of interest. Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
nobody out of jealousy will see you at the streets unless they're on like fentanyl drugs, whatever,
Uh,
and decide to shoot you.
no.
This is way different and way more malicious. So the
Yeah,
problem with low life standard countries is basically people are very bored and very creative with their time, and they
yeah,
just
mm-hmm.
think of how to put other people down. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
gonna move to Greece eventually, looking to buy a house near the beach there and go
yeah.
from
Do
there.
your thing. Do your thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes if the country that you're staying in has got this shit going on and it just keeps happening, it's
Yeah,
just time to go away. But even moving here to Thailand, you get guys that are just malicious because you're more successful than they are. So I
true.
usually let it slide. I usually,
Yeah,
usually.
yeah. It doesn't matter. I mean, even if you do something, you lose it in the grand scheme of things because you're
Right,
potentially losing a lot. They're losing shit. So
right.
that's the problem. If we
Mm.
go via if we just let go and dictate our autonomic sympathetic nervous system just fires and we just react as animals,
Yeah,
then
react. Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's
You
fucking
lose way
bad.
more than they do. Yeah, I know. I know.
That's the
That's why I always
problem.
reel it in, man. That's why I always reel it in. I just laugh
So
it off and say, "These guys are just
yeah,
shit
I mean,
happens." People come and go. It's just part of the game.
so as far as insulin, when we glucose, when we take in glucose or even protein,
Mhm.
leucine, for example, it's insulinogenic.
Right,
It increases blood sugar.
right,
So the pancreatic beta cells will stimulate insulin production, and that's
right,
gonna get stored alongside electrolytes,
right.
minerals, and
Other
everything
other
else.
nutrients. I mean,
Exactly.
people always think that insulin only stores carbohydrates, but it's not the
No,
case.
it's
It stores
everything.
nutrients. It's everything.
Exactly. And electrolytes, everything.
Yeah,
If you're in a
right.
hyperkalemic state, when bodybuilders are post like a lot of time after show,
Mhm.
uh, insulin will store that excessive potassium and save
Potassium,
them
yeah.
from hyperkalemia. But
That's why
anyway,
when you combine telmisartan with nebivolol and you get into a hyperkalemic state, insulin is actually a good addition on top of that. So I
exactly,
think I was one of the first one that brought that to the fitness industry. Yeah, telmisartan is great, already causes hyperkalemia in certain states. And then you add that with nebivolol, which can also induce hyperkalemia. And now you have two together, your potassium levels will be quite high, unless You
Take some insulin.
take a little bit of insulin to shuttle that away,
I
and of
love
course
that
you
you
need to
mentioned
adjust.
this because
Yeah.
even more recently, actually, it was yesterday or the day before.
Mhm.
Anthony made a video regarding why aren't you taking an ARB, for example. Everybody should
Mhm.
be on an ARB, and within the fitness industry, people are discussing things that are mandatory. Everybody should be on a
Mhm.
Zetavibe, everybody on an ARB, anybody on beta blockers, anybody on this, on that. So people are influencers are now making statements that are universal for everybody, which is
Yeah. Mhm.
absolutely bullshit. And when you look at, and this is something that I don't want to, start a conspiracy theory or whatever, but that's just my observation.
Big pharma is behind it.
Right. But when you look at the rate of side effects, potential side effects, even like hyperkalemia, for example, or even angioedema or whatever from ARBs,
Mhm.
they're so low. They're in the below percentile. I
Right.
see
Mhm.
that in real life. I know at least 4 or 5 people that have experienced that.
I've had it.
So,
Yeah, I've had it. Yeah.
so like, is it really 0.2%?
So
People,
again, this is the discrepancy between the data and the practical application. When bodybuilders start taking ARBs, many of the bodybuilders, like real bodybuilders, like hardcore guys, they
Mm,
supplement with potassium or they eat potassium-rich foods. So now you're more at risk to develop hyperkalemia. And then again, you combine it with Nebivolol, which also has like very small percentile of instances where hyperkalemia can occur. Now you double or triple or 10x the risk. So, and then we go through these cyclical diets where sometimes when you're metabolizing the glycogen from your skeletal muscle, what is going to happen? You're going to dump the potassium from the skeletal muscle into the bloodstream. More
exactly.
risk for hyperkalemia.
And this goes for everything. People
Yeah.
neglect the fact that in the studies, they're taking 60-year-old people, 30 or whatever, that have
Mhm.
a body mass index of slightly larger than a female. They're not
Mhm.
taking Vigorous Steve or Big
No,
Ramy as the standard. Like,
no.
we're a different, we're from a different planet if we
So
look at it.
the recommended intake for potassium is like 4,700 milligrams. I was taking 10,000 for
See,
years.
see,
10,000 and
same.
many bodybuilders. You just go through the diet. I mean, I'm one of the few coaches who actually wrote down all of the amino acids and all of the
Hmm.
micronutrients,
Hmm.
the vitamins, the minerals, the trace minerals, etc. I wrote that all down so I could keep track of the mineral intake and all the other micronutrients.
Right.
And most bodybuilders would get from a generic bro diet already 5,000 to 7,000 milligrams of potassium. That's with vegetables, some sweet potato. Some of the protein sources are actually quite rich in potassium. So people don't think about that. So, yeah, I eat healthy. I don't add salt to my diet, but there's so much potassium in your food, dude.
Exactly.
So it
There's
is. We are more at risk for this to develop. So I mentioned this over a year ago in one of the BioBros episodes, and now people are slowly catching on. But still, if you're less at risk, probably if you have a diet with a decent amount of carbohydrates that are more devoid of potassium. So rice, for example, cream of rice,
Mhm.
oatmeal, those have a lot less potassium than potatoes, sweet potatoes, or some of the vegetables that we generally eat. And if you can control that, with insulin, shuttle all those carbohydrates into skeletal muscle and take the potassium out of the bloodstream that way, then you're less at risk. Still, if you deplete for a week and you keep your potassium intake high and all of the potassium is now leaking from your skeletal muscle because you're metabolizing the glycogen,
Yeah.
then your potassium levels go up again. So you have to look into a multitude of different vectors and again do your blood work frequently because at home electrolyte testing is not available as far as I know.
And also intracellular, you can't know really what's going on
No, right? Yeah,
intracellularly.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
thing is, potassium drives. It's one of the transporters for glucose to go into to convert to glycogen
yeah.
alongside
Mhm.
water, and
Right,
also you need adequate amount of sodium because water's
right.
low sodium as well.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's a very important. So, and we're talking about bigger bodies that sweat more, that take
yeah.
androgens, that directly impact the raw system
Hmm.
positively or negatively, mostly negatively. So all of those factors are completely different than the people that we read in those in the scientific literature. It's
Yeah.
completely different. It's almost
Yeah.
as we're looking at my studies, because
Yeah.
we're completely different species.
Right.
So that ticks me off when I talk to somebody that's a biohacker, and they just spam me with the same, generic studies that have zero correlation with the
Mm.
with the audience that are watching them.
It's
That
safe.
that that
People feel safe with these studies. They don't want to think further
I think
than.
they make it out to be as a scapegoat for justifying being a pharmaceutical junkie. I think that's it.
Yeah. Mm,
I think that's it. It started
yeah.
off with taking 30 different supplements when we
Mm.
were younger. We had no idea. We thought protein, creatine, BCAAs, aminos, this and that. You had like the whole
Yeah.
fucking stack, right?
Glutamine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's the same principle, same approach, but
For the
with
drugs.
PEDs.
Yeah.
And now with health and longevity, it's the same
Hmm.
shit, but on a different spectrum, because it's
Yeah. I
the
think.
same thinking
I
process.
think. I think, and maybe I'm a little bit guilty of this as well. I think the audience is getting more scared of their health, so they want to do preventative stuff when in reality it's not always required. So I'm on telmisartan and nebivolol. I'm using those to prevent further negative heart remodeling.
Hmm.
I take the ezetimibe because my LDL will go, horribly wrong. And
Hmm.
even though my calcium score is 0, which is great, I'm trying to
Hmm.
keep it that way, right? The
True.
ezetimibe I will take out when I'm on TRT. I will take out when I'm off cycle because I don't need it. I take the telmisartan out as well. I don't need it. I don't need blood pressure management or reduction of, the RAS system because I don't do anything severe that could offset it. Because again, I'm drug free or on TRT. I definitely don't need it. I will keep the nebivolol in because I like, for productivity purposes, a
Hmm.
reduced heart rate. It helps to keep me focused. Right. So that's
True.
my productivity enhancing drug. Right. I feel more leveled this way.
Right.
Now,
And I.
so I add in ancillaries as needed. And I do the same thing with my clients.
Hmm.
You start somewhere, you see how the body responds, and then you add in an ancillary depending on how the body responds and if that's provable with blood work, step by step. So some guys might start off with 20 milligrams telmisartan. I had a guy do an ACG protocol, and his blood pressure went up. 20 milligrams telmisartan, not 80, not
Right.
80 milligrams
Right.
telmisartan, 20. I reduced his
Right.
potassium intake slightly by changing his food sources, and now his blood pressure is sustained. Then I took him off the telmisartan when we changed some of the protocol. So it's just a step by step thing. But I like usually when I make these videos about preventative measures, I'm speaking in the context of hardcore bodybuilding, which is sometimes a mistake, of course, because most of the audience are not hardcore bodybuilders.
Yeah.
And I would say, these are the ancillaries you can look into, but only add them in as needed.
Exactly.
But most guys don't need that stuff, you know.
Full agree
And
with you.
again, yeah, and a lot of these drugs they also have negative side effects, like we just discussed, the kalemia issues that you need to consider. But this is the problem with YouTube. People have a very limited attention span, and I would love to make a 2-hour video just discussing the bivolol and all of the scientific literature and how we could extrapolate that into bodybuilding practices. Nobody would watch it.
That's true. That's true. And again, I think the reason why things have shifted into this endeavor is because the other style of content has been milked. So
Mm,
it used to be fake natties. Then it
yeah,
was like all hardcore drug body. Boston Lloyd started this,
yeah,
and then slowly it's HRT, and now it's like harm mitigation, this and that.
yeah.
But the same people are taking the same approach, which is taking it to extremes, because extreme people have the same thought process, the same
Mhm.
habits, and the same way that they approach it, and it's the
Yeah,
same problem. It's the
it's like
exactly same
extreme
problem.
anti-aging. I mean, I see that with some of these podcasts as well. These guys take it to the next level, and they don't look anti-aged or healthy at all.
Fuck,
You
dude.
know,
I
right?
always, I always like I have screenshots of my phone of podcasts of
Yeah,
people that are like talking about anti-aging,
Mhm.
promoting IMP, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase, decreasing
Mhm.
mTOR, this and that. Listen, they
NAD
all look
plus, you know.
like they're
Yeah.
fucking dying, or like they look, they walk down the street, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say like Brad Pitt, for example. He is like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 50 or even more,
It looks
or
great.
Richard Gere, whatever. I will
Yeah.
notice him and I would like, he looks great.
Yeah,
If I
he's a
look some
prime.
normal biohacker talking about longevity,
They
which
look
is
like
not
smokers.
quantified, it looks like, why would I? Where's the proof of work? If that
Yeah.
guy is 150 years old and looks that way, I would be like, okay, there's
Okay,
something to
that it
this.
makes sense, right? Yeah. But a lot of these guys, they're around 40 to 50 years old, but they look 5 to 10 years older. And I'm like, and they behave that way too. They behave
Exactly.
old. And I'm like,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not the youngest guy, but I'm not trying to let it take away from the quality of my life.
Dude, you look like a
You should,
kid.
yeah, I act like a kid too. That's what my
Well,
wife always says.
that's a part of the reason. Happier people live longer, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you do all this shit with drugs, with whatever,
yeah.
but like, I think your lifestyle, your approach to things,
I try to
and
enjoy
also
myself.
physical activity and
Hmm.
being on top of your shit and having goal oriented mindset,
Hmm.
which makes you happy,
Right.
will reflect on you. You're
Hmm.
happy,
Of
you
course. Yeah, yeah,
smile,
of course.
you have different facial expression,
Yeah.
your skin is glowing, you're
Hmm.
present. Like, those things
I
will
think that's some
showcase
grease
somebody
though.
that's a,
My skin is glowing. It's like this fucking
yeah,
light.
come on, don't tell them the secret, come on.
Yeah,
But
it's like a stage lighted fucking
yeah,
salmon grease on my
but
forehead.
that was my point. I see four kids that are like, I wouldn't look at them twice in the streets, not regarding muscle
Yeah.
mass, or even if I were in the same room and talking with them, I would forget them in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, what surprises me, like I meet people they're quite on top of their health and they're my age, and then I look at them like, what the fuck, dude?
Right?
What's going on with you? And they're clearly miserable. They're trying to overcompensate for something that I don't know if they made poor decisions in their lives, and now this anti-aging starts to, that it becomes important. But I think I've been on top of my shit since I was 15 years old, and of course I took my rec drugs and I did my alcohol and smoking
Yeah.
here or there, and you know, of course it's not the best thing, but I think overall, like 98% of my life, have been on top of my stuff.
Right.
So, and I think that's ultimately the goal. You just start young with the limited funds that you have, and you just don't overdo it. So you don't have to go into this overcompensation mode when you're older. And then, to all the guys that are heavy into entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
entrepreneurship is a very high stress environment, and stress kills you too. I do consultations with these guys all the time. They're now 40, 50. They've been grinding their socks off and they have prostate issues or hair loss or
Right.
marriage issues or libido issues. And it's all because they work. Okay, they got millions in the bank. They can
But
clearly afford me for a couple hours,
but
but deep
realistic.
inside, they're miserable,
Yeah, but the 15
unfortunately.
year olds, 50-year-old people are bald regardless and work at McDonald's without
No, no,
having
no.
to do
Those
it.
are those are the average guys. Those are the
Yeah,
average guys
so like,
just kind of floating
a-
through life.
and when you have the money, when you have the credentials, it's different. You can fix, then you can fix the shit. Then
Yeah,
you've earned
but
it.
I think it's better just to do preventative stuff. And so instead of addressing it with medication later on, or
True.
NAD plus or anti-aging stuff,
Right.
hyperbaric chambers, saunas, cold baths,
True.
blah 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 blah. Why don't you just live a little bit more modestly,
True.
eat healthy, go to the gym, maybe do some TRT, and maybe an extreme cycle if you're really into bodybuilding. I mean, I still am fond of exclusive PED protocols, but I'll put it to work. I don't
Right.
take it for the sake of it. I'm not going to, like some guys in the fitness industry. They're going to run a protocol for 4 weeks and they don't really put it to work. I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah,
You know?
and it's still within your realm. It's
Yeah.
within what you do. So,
Hmm.
and it's a visual thing, like it or not. It's still, it brings value to, your appearance. The other more audience
Mm.
will find you. Will, I mean, it's
It's
another add-on. So, and also
yeah,
it's something you love. So you're still doing
right.
something that yields objective, quantifiable reward.
But
Dopamine is the currency.
what I like is that you have Ken Skip Hill. He's one of the first, basically the first online coach, and he
Mhm.
calls himself a professional drug user. So, which is hilarious. And it's really
And
coming
true.
back to haunt him. But he's experimented with every different kind of drug and every different protocol in the context of bodybuilding. And now he's got so much knowledge that he
Right.
knows exactly what to do and exactly what not to do. And I
True.
fall a little bit into this category because I also like to experiment, and
Exactly.
I go from this drug to that drugs. I try to do it as safely as possible, obviously, but I'd
Right.
like to figure out, which drugs are applicable for particular situations. And due to my experimentation, I'm able to solve so many problems for people. So
Exactly.
many. Yeah. The
Exactly.
only thing that I didn't have experience with is post-finasteride syndrome. So I hammered on it for days, really start digging into the literature and talking to the clients that I was able to fix it for. So I think I have a valid solution for it. So that will drop tomorrow, that video. But most of the other
Nice.
stuff I have, 100% hands-on experience with, even the most obscure protocols, and
Yeah.
it's probably detracting from my overall health, but I don't
I've done
feel
the
or
same
look
shit.
old, Yeah, I don't
It's
feel or look
different.
old.
When you try to help somebody, it's one thing
Mhm.
to gather the data with from the literature that's presented, but
Mhm.
when you've been in that situation
It's way more valuable to
with,
solve it.
with
Yeah.
from a cognitive standpoint, and
Mhm.
hormones directly impact one's cognitive structure,
Yeah.
they intertwine, they're complementing one
Right.
another. So when you've been there, you know exactly how somebody in contest prep thinks,
Mhm.
when he may potentially lie to you or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can foresee the future because you've been
Right.
in the exact same fucking situation, and
Right.
you know how that will play out. And
Mhm.
that's you cannot get to that point unless you've done that.
You gotta walk the walk.
Ideally,
You
I
gotta walk the walk.
ideally
You can't find it on fucking PubMed. You gotta walk the
no,
fucking walk
no,
and live it.
exactly,
And then do that
exactly.
for a couple of years. Then you can reproduce. You just can't go on PubMed for a day and start piecing it together. I mean, you can learn a lot on PubMed, but without walking the walk. That's why I don't really talk about hair loss. I talk about acne. I have no
Sure.
acne right now, but I used to have horrible acne. I
Mm-hmm.
really fixed my skin. I might have a pimple here and there. So those acne videos that I've made, those were highly valuable because I lived it and I
Right.
fixed it. And now other people can fix it with the content that they have. And I think the same thing for you once you finally get over this autoimmune issues. And you already launched your channel, right?
Yeah, I have it, but I haven't started videos,
Start
making
making some
videos.
fucking videos, Alec.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Right.
The only thing about it is, so later today I'm gonna start a new med and
Yeah.
switch from the previous one. I want to see how I initially respond, because if something happens
Mhm.
that it would interfere with my productivity, I'm not gonna be consistent. When you start
Yeah.
something, the initial launch has to be on point,
You need
consistent.
to be there for 3 months,
you
otherwise your
you
audience
have
is
to
not going
be.
to grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
later on it's self-sustainable. Later on it's
Yeah.
no problem. Now I just working with my clients, with the people that know me.
Mhm.
That's a perpetual mobile, so it
Right.
feeds in itself. That's fine. When I started that, I'm for sure starting it. And then we talked, with you. I talked with Derek. We'll probably do something together.
We should do some
So
collaborations. Yeah. When
yeah,
Derek
yeah,
gets
it's
out
gonna
of
be
his man
fun.
cave, he didn't even read my message. Fuck.
Yeah,
Stupid.
I spammed him. I spammed him yesterday, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and 10
Yeah.
a.m. So I got him. So there's no
Oh, really?
escaping it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
like fucking spamming him.
Sometimes he's available, and then you can call him for an hour, and then
Yeah,
then he disappears for a month.
yeah,
That's fine, dude. It's the same thing with my good friends. I have like friends, but they live all over the world because they
exactly.
exited Holland, or I met them here and then they moved somewhere else. And then you don't talk for a month or two, and then you have a good phone call, catch up, see what's going on, and it's like a great
U-
conversation. It's like you
Usually,
never nothing happened in the meantime. Like all is
usually
still good.
when people have everything dialed in and the train
Hmm.
is just go moving forward, then it's not a problem. When there's
Yeah.
setbacks for whatever reason, with
Hmm.
health, from my perspective, Derek
Yeah.
has his own potential problems with
Hmm.
whatever. So I understand that, but it's a matter of fact. It's a matter of time. So initially, either today, tomorrow, it's gonna happen. So I'm not worried about it. That
No, not worry
we're
about it.
here, we're in contact. So I think we'll have a good time. We're gonna, do the things that we love. Because even when I start the whole channel, and I'm gonna fall into the trap that you yourself are right now, with the algorithm and
Yeah.
the whole fucking metaverse. So, but it is what it is. We don't need to have a bazillion followers. It's a matter of
Mm.
reaching out to the right people that
I like the
will.
people that follow now. They like the obscure content, and they
Yes,
can actually focus for a long period of time, because most of my videos are quite long, 10,
right.
20, 30 minutes sometimes. And most people watch it to the end. Not everybody, but the loyal people. And I think the same for you. I mean, you start explaining stuff, you go on a tangent, the video's 30 minutes. Okay, but it's high valuable content.
Exactly.
And the
What?
people,
Why would you
the
stop?
people who want to learn, they'll learn.
Why would you stop? Like you're getting into more and more interesting points. Why would
Hmm.
anybody stop? They clicked it. They like the title. They're interested, and it just gets better and better. You don't start a
Yeah.
Marvel movie, and when it's the final clash, you're not like fuck this, I'm out. I don't get it. So
So
the
I think, like, you and me, we think, we want to go on a quest to acquire knowledge, right? But not everybody thinks this way. They just want the solution here. And when you have a 30-minute video, when the solution is spread out and explained over a multitude of different topics, not everybody can sit through that. And I understand, but I wouldn't feel comfortable producing a video where I just rattle off the solutions without giving you the fundamental understanding why. I've been a coach for 10 years, and I would always explain my shit so you know what you're getting yourself into and why it's going to work and what you need to pay attention to. That's just my
true.
style. That's what a teacher does. And that I want to transfer my knowledge to the audience. And I'm sure you would want to do the same. I want to transfer my shit to other people so they can learn, have a little bit of a head start on what I had to learn the hard way.
True.
And then, and that way, once I move on or pass on,
Hmm.
at least everything I know is documented about drugs.
Not
Everything
not
I
only
know
that.
about drugs is online on YouTube for everybody to see. And then maybe 100 years from now, they're like, Steve was full of shit. Yeah, but with the limited scientific evidence and
There's
experience that I
there's
had at the
another
time, it was valid, you know?
there's another aspect though. When you pass on that information, you're
Mm.
teaching people to think, to ask
Yeah,
questions. You yourself, when you're on a quest for knowledge,
yeah,
you accept the fact that you don't know everything, because
exactly.
you're on an ongoing quest.
Right.
You're at level 70, and you're leveling up. Some of the
I
viewers
think
are
you
level
always stay
one.
at level 70 because the knowledge potential keeps increasing. So you're
Yeah,
almost there. You're at the
right.
event horizon, but you're not really crossing into the black holes. You're
Yes,
always like within grasp of figuring it out, and then new knowledge comes to the forefront, and then you go
exactly.
on a tangent, and you're like, the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's why I love it. There's always so much more to learn, and you can change your opinions over time, and as your body changes, your opinion will change. Because like I
But
can't run train, but a train used
that's
to be the shit for me.
that's what makes it so fun and
Hmm.
dopaminergic and rewarding, because
Right.
when you seek an activity, dopamine coincides with activity and action. As you progress following your plan to achieve your goals, you're doing mini lines of coke, like mini dopamine highs,
Yeah.
till you achieve the goal, and then you realize there's more, and you go
Yeah.
more and more, and that
Mhm.
way you have a goal oriented behavior, and that
Mhm.
will inevitably make a successful person, because
I
you'll be
think so. Yeah.
specialized. That makes you specialized
Mhm.
in an area extremely,
Right.
and then
Right.
later on that will coincide with other things, and you'll take the
Mhm.
same fucking approach, and you'll be successful in something else. If I just take you right now and throw in
Mhm.
fucking Brazil or whatever, and you
I'll
start
figure it
all
out.
over, like, you'll
Yeah.
figure it out. You're not gonna
Yeah.
be a bum. So
No, right. So I think that's one of the most important skills you can have as a man, your ability to learn and turn it into something you can monetize. And then you can learn anything and monetize everything.
True.
Anything you do. Like, I mean, you have multiple different endeavors that you're a part of, and they're all doing well. And I have the same thing. Derek has the same thing. A lot of people don't even know what he's involved in. And
True.
as long as you know how to learn and be curious and just try to monetize that, then, dude, you can turn anything into a success. I wish
For
more
sure.
people would have that curiosity, because then then life becomes so much easier. Yes, you're grinding the whole time, but when you do something fun, then the financial backing is there just to go ham and have fun. And you're not in a position anymore where you have to think about, oh, this is too expensive, or the economic crisis is going to kill my opportunities to have fun. No, you learned this skill, and now you can enjoy yourself, in the limited time that you have. So I have
But
half a Sunday that I enjoy myself, and I just do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah.
that's what makes the difference, though. This podcast, you, I
Mhm.
take Derek as an example. Like, Derek is an individual in fucking Canada, a random dude that worked
Mhm.
as a bouncer, started from shit, and then
You made it
had a
happen.
passion, had a passion for bodybuilding and for
Mhm.
picking up girls. Started making videos. Now he's at the top of the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Every every fucking dude can be Derek.
Yeah.
Literally
Dude,
everybody.
people.
He
Yeah.
didn't make it with his insane, shredded serratus or quads or glutes
Well,
or
those delts are fucking killer,
or
dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, minus the delts.
They're
But, like,
fun
come on,
guys.
realistically,
Wanna
real
pull some goods?
realistically speaking, you have Greg Valentino that just syntholed everything, didn't
Yeah.
work out for him, right? So
Mhm.
it doesn't fucking matter. Just pick something that you love, pursue it, and neglect everything around you. Because, like, if you look
Yeah.
at his videos, he's a dude in his chair with the same fucking background since I don't know, maybe like the Third World War.
I'm still waiting for him to tell the story, but I'll leave it
so
up to
so like
Derek.
so like there's nothing flashy, there's no anime music, special effects,
Mhm.
naked dudes in the background doing fucked up shit, dry scooping pre-workouts and having heart
No,
attacks
it's
in the
just
background. Like, there's none of that shit.
no.
It's just learning data, presenting it, computer off, bye bye.
Yeah.
The simple fucking shit, and it's
And you
real
know
life
how much
value.
smarter the fitness industry got over the last 3 or 4 years that Derek was online?
Yeah, and
Lots,
now, yeah,
because of
exactly.
Derek.
He went
Everybody's
on.
thinking a little bit more carefully now. And then, to channels like mine and hopefully yours, and then other, high quality educators, everybody's thinking, with a little bit, more open mind at the data and what was always portrayed in the fitness industry, because we take that at face value, but half of the shit was just bullshit, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we're all in a good position, man. And I try to make videos like this, like, just get your fucking act together and start contributing, because it will pay off.
It will, and that
Yeah.
I find that as the only alternative and
Mhm.
counterbalance to the fucking shit that's going on right now, because
Yeah.
this is getting out of hand. Because a lot of these
Yeah.
people do not realize the second they have kidney failure, get hit by a car, or their
Mhm.
mom doesn't give them allowance because they failed in
Yeah.
school or whatever, they're done. They have nothing on their name. If they don't
Mhm.
have the fucking Instagram and TikTok, they don't exist. Put them in the streets for like 15
Yeah,
minutes
that's
and
true.
they're
Yeah, because they
gone.
don't have the skill. They didn't learn the skill on how to monetize their stuff. They fell into this position, and because they have a good physique, they can monetize it. But everything around it, the business around it, they don't understand.
But a lot of times they don't even have the good physique.
No, yeah,
Trust me.
that's what surprises me sometimes. Like, I see these guys on Instagram and YouTube, and they have an average physique. There's no knowledge there, and they got a
Nothing.
huge following, and they make like 50K on affiliate sales. I'm like,
You
what
know
the
why?
fuck, dude?
Because of the fucking generic companies. I'm not gonna name
Yeah,
them because you may potentially be sponsored.
yeah,
But, dude, like, if I have a company, I need to be all of my sponsors should be within my grasp concept, values. They don't give a
Mm.
fuck if you have
They're just
100K.
about cold hard sales,
Yeah, so that's
which is
the
okay. But
problem.
again, how long do these companies last? I mean, you see how many are going belly up now. I
Yeah,
mean,
but how
there's
many
tons
people
of
they fucked
companies.
up? The youth, they
Yeah.
fucked it up. That's the problem. They
Mm,
will get away with the millions. Remember shreds?
yeah.
They made
Mm,
millions and everything. How many people got scammed, got fucked, whatever. We don't hear about them. They made their shit, they're gone. Doesn't fucking matter. But people
yeah.
got fucked. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's poisoning the mindset of the youth. That's the issue. That's the
Yeah.
biggest issue.
So the weird thing is, like, when I was younger, you had this shit going on as well, and I never really let it get to me. I don't think I ever got scammed in that sense. So I think I had a little bit of common sense to see through that stuff. But again, you have to learn the hard way sometimes. So if you get scammed here and there, and you get hurt here and there, maybe that's the only way for people or some people to learn.
That's true, but it's harder when you're 27 and you have to start over because you're a
Yeah.
developed person. It's different. You fuck up now at 30 for whatever reason, you're
Dude, if I
still,
lose everything tomorrow, I'll be
yeah,
okay.
you'll be okay,
I'll be
because
so okay because all the skills I still have inside.
that's
That's
the
why
problem.
that's why sometimes I laugh, like all these guys that they go through a divorce and she took half my shit. I said, well, you got double the time back, and she didn't
Right,
take your ability to make money away. What are you talking about?
right,
You can
exactly.
start
That
banging some chicks, catch up in a long time. What are you? She took half my money. So
dude,
what? Did you make more money? Don't get
one
married
of
to. You
the
didn't get married to the money.
true one of the funniest thing is like I see a podcast, for example, like I don't know, 18 years old kids, 21, whatever,
Mm,
and they're just discussing chasing after girls or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
when I was 19, I couldn't give a single fuck about
Oh,
girls.
really? I
My
did. I
DMs
did.
were full of them, but
I
I
did have
had to
DMs.
train twice per day. No, I had my
Yeah.
fair share, but like I
Yeah.
trained twice per day. I had my meals in. I read the
Mm,
studies. I listened to music. I worked on myself first, and then
yeah.
on the
Mm,
weekends that came later. People
yeah.
wake up, take their phone, start from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. only
Scrolling.
talking about that. Like
Yeah.
they void their life for that.
It's
And
surprising, yeah, but I do know guys that see their own self worth in how many hot chicks they can fuck, which
what the
is a weird endeavor. So I know a guy that he's always on Tinder, always scrolling a hot chick. He fucks the hottest chicks. I'm gonna be honest,
right.
but financially, he's doing okay, but not exceptionally well. So we're
Right.
in a
That's the
hotel room,
trade-off.
we're chilling out. He's made all these girls. This one I'm gonna meet tonight. This one I'm gonna have dinner with tomorrow, and this one I'm gonna take blah blah blah. And I show him my coaching and what I'm doing with
Right.
business. You see this? This is an ebook sale. You see this? This is another ebook sale. You see this? It's another ebook sale. So he gets the dopamine from the girls, which is fine. I've gone through this phase, and I get the dopamine from business and being more financially secure than literally a second ago. So,
He's
and
an
he's
addict.
like, yeah, of course he's addicted to dating girls, and of course he gets these guys get really upset when they don't bang a hot chick because they feel unvalidated. Right? They don't get this validation that they
That's
need
sad.
from an 8 9. It's kind of sad, yeah. So, and I guess it's the same when I have a bad financial month where you make half what you usually make, because when you're self-employed, you're always dependent on multiple
Yeah.
revenue streams. You have to put
True.
that together.
True.
You do your financials at the end, you're like, holy shit, it's only half of what I made the month before. Maybe I
That's on
should
you.
get back on YouTube. you
No, but
know
that's on you.
so yeah, but that's on me, right? And
That's
it's
on you.
for him, his validation is dependent on other women or other people willing to sleep with the guy. But for me, it's on how much effort I put in. So if I take back the effort, take it down a notch, yeah, then it's to be expected that I don't make as much money as I did when I'm grinding my socks off. I
This
have the
is
same, you have the same, Derek has the same.
hmm
So I think if you develop again a skill where you're just making sure that you as a person are leveling up continuously, then the women will line up
naturally come to
too.
you.
You
The
know.
thing is, as I said, dopamine is the ultimate currency. People
Mhm.
say that testosterone makes effort feel good. No,
Oh yeah,
testosterone is adrenergic. It gives you energy, and it gives
yeah,
you the ability to do more work. The
right.
work that you do re-
Makes you feel good.
results with dopamine because you get the
Mm,
high of achievement. The
mm,
problem is the addicts, they want instant gratification. They
yeah,
can do cocaine and they get maximum amount of dopamine.
yeah,
Then
right.
they're very good economists.
Yeah,
So with minimal effort, they gain a lot, right?
yeah.
Risk
Mm.
return of investment pays off. Why would they? Would they try
But
to pursue a goal
talking
when they
about
can do it?
dopamine,
Right.
the Bitcoin is sinking so hard, and oh, I love it because I set a buy order like very, very low. I just bought a little bit, and it just keeps
I'm,
tanking lower and lower. I'm gonna
I'm gonna
oh,
buy some.
you should buy some. It's like 17,800 right now. It dropped like
Really?
$3,000.
Oh my god.
Midterm elections, baby.
Oh yeah. I need to pay that. Oh shit.
You see,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Fuck
start
that.
buying before I buy because I don't want you to move the market.
Yeah. I'm not gonna
I
put
should
like
I
a
should still
billion
be like,
dollars.
yeah, I should be fucked up and just set a
Yeah,
buy order, a fake buy order right now.
we shouldn't tell Derek then. He's gonna move the market up.
No, 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 no. He's probably watching the market also.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
he's
sure, for
probably
sure. We've talked
he's
about
watching.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Sorry about that. Talking about
it's
dopamine. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
as I
getting
was
my buy
saying,
orders in.
yeah, as I was saying, they'd rather do something with instant gratification, and then
Hmm.
anything else is futile. Why would you pursue something that would require high effort over a prolonged
Hmm.
period of time when you can just do drugs or even jerking off? People that really watch porn
Yeah.
and jerk
Yeah.
off when they don't fuck their wife because they associate the erection with instant gratification. They masturbate because
Right.
it's easier. It's more
Yeah.
convenient, and they would
Uh-huh.
rather lay in the bed, jerk off. Their wife is not happy, and she's gonna cheat on them later on.
Yeah,
But
right, exactly. Yeah,
those are
yeah,
fucking addicts.
yeah.
People on the opposite end of the spectrum, they have goal oriented
Hmm.
behavior and mindset, and they pick scalable things such as
Right.
you,
Hmm.
and you progressively overload, get better, and get bumps of dopamine till you get the ultimate one, and then you just proceed
Hmm.
to other endeavor. So there's no way you couldn't be successful because that's how you drive your purpose of life. That's the
No,
difference.
I
your
agree.
friend
I
your
I
friend
I
that
highly agree.
drives dopamine from girls is because it's very convenient and very easy. He's probably good
Hmm.
looking, funny, whatever. He uses his skill set and it's
Yeah,
very
he's
easy.
doing
But
well.
if you tell him to start a business and make
I told him many
100K,
times.
yeah, but
I told him
it's
many
not.
times. No,
That's hard. Fuck that.
it's too scary. Dude,
Yeah.
the
So
opportunities are there. Just like the internet's like a river of money, and all you have to do is throw in your fucking lure.
exactly, exactly,
It's a sea of commerce. All you have to do is just jump in and start grabbing whatever you can find. And it
literally.
doesn't need take that much skill. I mean, look at those Instagram kids, 18 years old with average physiques. They're getting paid.
Yeah, they do. And then you come
Like,
some know-it-all tells them, "Oh, don't do that. It's wrong." I'm like, then
yeah,
stop rewarding it.
yeah.
Stop rewarding it.
I
How
mean,
would
I'm happy for those guys that they're making bank. I know several guys that are making 50K, 100K a month.
Oh no, I know as
Yeah.
well.
And then I
But
tell them, invest a little bit. No, no, no. You got a
no, buy the
motorbike, a sports
cars, do the
cars.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
like
house, all the fine,
that's
fancy
never
clothes,
that's
hookers, cocaine.
yeah, but that's not
What are you
guaranteed
doing?
forever.
Yeah. Put it away. It's some fucking buy some cryptocurrency right now
Right.
and let it sit. If you make 50K a month, you can buy 2 Bitcoin every single month or multitude of Ethereum or whatever. You spend your $5,000, $10,000 every month. That's already way too much. 5,000 per month is more than enough to have a comfortable life with blood
Sure,
work and drugs and
sure,
a house. Yeah, I mean that's
sure.
what I spend.
Yeah.
And then the rest you invest. And then when you're sick of the shit, you just exit. You're like, okay, I made my money, I'm done. Now I'm gonna travel or play with Lego or whatever.
The way that you think like this, the
Mhm.
reason why you think like this is because you've been on the other side and you progressively came to this one. That kid
Yeah,
has
right.
no
It was a
idea.
slow, it was a
They
slow,
have
slow,
they
slow.
have no idea what's on the other side.
Mm.
Tomorrow, if everything crashes, somebody scams them, the IRS
Mm.
gets them or whatever,
Mm.
then they'll be crybabies.
Yeah, I mean, again, everybody has to learn the hard way, unfortunately. So it's
Well, it's kind of fucked up though, because they have you, for example, they're in touch
mm,
with you, and their ability is even greater. Like, you didn't have somebody that could just give you that advice for free instantly,
mm.
and a kid that has access to you and just completely throws that in the garbage, like, that's even worse. Like, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
it's
That's
just
the
stubbornness.
problem.
I have the same thing sometimes. I mean, Derek gives me a good advice, and I'm just too stubborn to follow up on it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should do a natty or not. Maybe I should.
No,
They
don't do
should.
it.
They should, like Chris Hemsworth's got small calves, and throw some verbal diarrhea in there, you know?
Oh god. I, I,
Oh
I was
man,
thinking
I
I, I was
should, but I don't want to.
I was thinking I have funnier ideas, but
Yeah,
I don't think my channel will survive that.
yeah,
So I was thinking of doing two, one with informative content,
yeah.
and another one that would be like reacting to to content of other people that are in the industry that are like at the
Mhm.
pedestal, because a lot of
All
them
right.
are full of shit.
Yeah.
And it would be really funny, but I don't know whether they're gonna like how they would
I don't
respond.
think it's sustainable because you like the guys that do that, that really are hammering in on some of the people.
Hmm.
Personally, I don't respect them. It's one thing to say something and make it informative. So you take like
Oh
an
yeah, always.
entrance and then make it informative. But
Right.
like there's so many YouTube channels out there that are just hammering on individuals and you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong,
No, no,
and it's not my kind of content. So
not
you would have to
hammering them
make it
too.
informative learning moment so people can actually benefit from, you know?
Not making it personal, like not
Yeah.
personal retorts, but
Mhm.
rather silly inaccurate things that they're saying. You know what I'm saying? So like when Derek
Yeah.
does the Natty or not, he goes into things that are informative, talks about PEDs, this and that,
Right.
while maintaining the topic of conversation. So
Mhm.
like I really like the video where Andrew Huberman talks about hormones, and he
Uh,
just says, like, with a straight face, Nandrolone, the canoid, it's DHT essentially, with a blank face. I was like, I was like
yeah,
laughing
yeah, yeah.
so hard, and I'm like, Jesus. And there are a lot of statement like that, and like afterwards, I would explain the whole, the
Right, right,
concept,
right,
and
right, right.
that
I've
it's
had that with Huberman a couple times, where you listen to something, it's like, this sounds like content that I would make, but it's
yeah.
wrong. I'm
Why
like,
would it be wrong? Because it's not a personal attack on the individual.
yeah,
It's not like you hating the individual. It's funny because it's extremely inaccurate.
yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
I
there are
think you
things
could
that
do
are
that
very
with my channel also. You go through some of the older content, you're like, Steve, are you sure about
no.
that? You sure
Mm,
about that?
well, yeah, you can cherry pick things, obviously,
Yeah,
but there are
yeah,
some different levels to things. Like, I remember one was Nick Trigili has like he has a post on Instagram. He's
yeah.
like, Deca and NPP are completely different drugs.
Oh yeah.
Completely different drugs. And I'm like, what? So like there's degrees to
Yeah,
there, but
there's decrease, yeah.
because like there's some way that you need to funnel more natural organic growth to
Mhm.
the educational content.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
some people do vlog channels, like Ryan, or but like I wouldn't film my whole life, probably
Mhm.
because I would go in
Yeah.
jail. Just kidding.
I think so
But like
too. Yeah, people ask me like, Do you want to do a day of eating?" And then I see what I
eating
eat.
ass.
It's so fun. Yeah, yeah. I eat peach and ass all day long. And they're like,
uh,
"Yeah, do a day of eating." And you see my omelet, and it's bland as fuck. You see my fish, and it's bland as fuck.
right,
And it's my steak
right.
is bland as fuck. Okay, go out on Sunday. I eat
Hmm.
royally. I ate the best shit ever. But on Sunday, I don't want to be in the camera. I want to be with my wife. I don't want to be on the
Yeah,
phone. I don't want to be with the camera. I don't want to talk to clients. I just want to be with me and my wife and no fucking
yeah,
bullshit. So that's my private moment.
yeah,
So, and yeah, you always find a way to, make the channel grow and bring some exclusive content.
yeah.
Yeah.
True, true. I'm more like that, honestly. I just, I mean, you're doing quite well. If
I'm doing okay. I'm doing
yeah, I
okay.
mean,
I got like 60, where are we now? 60,000, 63, yeah, 63,000 followers. And the video about MK677 and insulin.
uh huh.
What did it do? Jesus, nobody watched it. Well, great. It's always so funny, People ask me, "What about MK677 and insulin?"
Yeah,
You make a
we'll
video
cut
about
this
it,
out.
and nobody watches. No, I'm gonna leave it in.
I'm
Nobody,
messing. I'm just
hey,
joking
what
around.
about this and that? And I make a video about it, 500 views.
Yeah, we're just trend only. Trend
Yeah,
replacement
I should
therapy.
have put Trend in the fucking.
Yeah, they made it a trend. It's a meme now. The more
Trend,
the
yeah.
most toxic shit that you can take. Uh,
I think
dude,
the
like the more.
post-finasteride syndrome video is going to do well. That's like a
Yeah,
common issue that people suffer from. Yeah.
yeah. On the hairless forums,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of crybabies about that. A lot of them on
Mm-hmm.
all forums, and this is going
Yeah.
back to 2016, 15, I think. So yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
should be good, but be careful how you word it. You shouldn't, I don't
We
know,
call them all
curse or
crybabies.
yeah, that's
Man, the fuck up. Take some more tests. No, no, no. I offer
there,
good solutions. It's a long
there,
one though. It's
there,
like 40
there,
minutes.
no, no, no. I know you offer good solutions, but like I would
Yeah.
call them crybabies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is the weird thing. Like with some issues, they're underlying, and the root cause is somewhere completely different. So people contact me for libido issues,
Mhm.
and then at the end of the consultation, it just becomes clear that they're fucking jacking off 3 times per day. I'm like,
Exactly what I was saying. Your
so
your
did you
your
really need an hour for me to figure it out? Why didn't you tell me
bro,
from the beginning? We could have done it in
you're
20 minutes.
causing an anticipatory circuit, erection, jerking off. Your
Yeah,
brain is linked
hold
to that
it.
motion.
Keep
Yeah,
it in the
so
pocket. Save the
yeah,
sexual energy for your partner 5, 6, 7
exactly.
hours. And if it takes a couple of days to build it up, all right. Plus the
Yeah.
callus,
What
these deadlift hands, they're not meant for jerking off.
not only that, Larry Woods had a video like that. Like
Mhm.
supposedly his grip was like tighter than a vagina or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's more so uh, uh, the circuit that the brain is attached to it, because like you do it consistently every
Yeah.
time you want a dopamine hit
Right.
or you get a hard on, you immediately jerk off. Your
Yeah.
brain remembers it and
Hmm.
it awaits for that. So as I said, that with the addiction part,
Yeah.
jerking off has less activity, less
Hmm.
effort, the same amount of dopaminergic release. You're
Yeah.
coming. Prolactin shoots up, dopamine shoots up, prolactin as well. You're satisfied. Why would you have undress your wife, do this, then
Yeah.
gasp
Or
for
actually
air?
go out
Because
and
like,
meet people.
yeah,
That's why Tinder
because
is so addictive because you just swipe. It's like a slot machine. It's like, you
yeah,
go to Vegas on the slot machine, you just swipe people left or right. And then people start acting like that in the real world. So that fuck off. Oh, you're
exactly,
nice. Yeah, yeah. Fuck
exactly.
off. Yeah, you're nice. Yeah, fuck off.
It's the
So
same.
it,
It's the same concept. It's either
mm,
hormonal, neurological, they're intertwined with another, or psychological. It's all
yeah,
that is. So yeah, pretty good example that also funnels back to what we were saying prior,
yeah.
for sure.
So yeah. So people, you just give things some thought. And when in doubt, delete your porn folder and cancel all torrents. And then things will sort itself out.
Yeah, 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 exactly,
All
exactly.
right. Hey, I'm gonna let you go. I gotta eat some food. This was a
Hmm.
great talk, man. 2.5 hours of ranting. We got 2 topics done, right? The Boldenone and the insulin. So that was
Uh,
something.
yeah, there
And
was
some
the
ancillaries.
insulin, ancillaries. What else?
I'll figure it out.
So
So
yeah,
your
yeah.
your YouTube channel, when is it gonna be launching then?
So basically, I'm just gonna take this shot of Humira and
Hmm.
wait 2 3 days to, unless something happens. I don't know how to respond. God forbid, some weird reaction. If everything is good
Mm.
in that regard, I'll just start it.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you. I'll just start it next week. So
Okay.
that's the plan. As I said, talk to Derek. I will, be on his ass about this because he has been telling me this for a while, but because of my situation, that wasn't on my list of priorities.
Mm.
I told that I talked to you. I told him that I talked to you, and
Mm.
he basically said what he said. So I'm just gonna be on his ass for that. And again,
Yeah.
I told him, like, even if it's one video a month, that's plenty. As long as it's
It's like once every 3 months.
yeah, whatever. No,
It's
I'll
better than
block you.
nothing. Yeah.
No,
I
I'll
think the
block you.
last Biohackers was at the beginning of this year.
Really?
It's been a
How many?
while. Yeah.
How many
It's been
episodes were they?
only
6,
10.
7?
10.
Okay, 10.